Forgot my intro there, Tom. Actually, I was in the middle of reading a stat that I needed.
Good afternoon, buddy.
Yeah, man, that was bad. You were just looking at me like, is he going to say it? And then I almost started to laugh, so I couldn't say it. Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. That hadn't happened in a long time, unless I'm late, like I'm running in here from the bathroom or grabbing a cup of coffee or something. You're like, dude, the music.
No, words like that to start the show, like non-shouted words, you know.
Kind of rare. Well, it's a holiday in some circles, right? So there you go. We're just laid back today. That's all it is, just a little laid back.
With our mind on our sports and sports on our mind.
There you go. Online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. If you do miss something, all 3 hours going to be posted both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. My favorite part of the interaction, if anybody's watching on YouTube, is the way that it really didn't occur to me that the show had started and I could hear the Who, and I'm reading a stat. I wanted to double check that I had it right before we start talking about the basketball. And I'm reading a stat, and I'm thinking about Roger Daltrey's about to sing, and Daltrey's about to sing, and I'm about to sing with him. I was just about to, just like you're in the car. Oh, the Who. Awesome. Bob O'Reilly. Great.
From my perspective in that moment, you know, he says out here in the fields, and you look at me, and I'm like, well, I wonder what we do now.
Yeah. Do we just let it ride?
Should we just let it go?
Keep letting it play here?
Yeah.
Do we start that over? Yeah.
Well, there was
you gonna wait till he says I fight for my meals? What are you gonna do?
There was a time in the technological past where, you know, you had to actually click over sources when I first got here, and a couple of times I'd screwed it up and I let the Who play for about 3 minutes, and then I switch it over, and you're in the middle of saying something because you've been talking on time.
I've been talking the whole time,
and I've been fading, and it sounds fine in our head. But you know, this the technology was such that you have to do almost like a missile command with the keys need to turn at the same time.
Oh, what a good game missile command is, huh? How about that? Florida State starts off the new baseball season with a bang. They win all 3 of the games against Xavier at Dick Howser Stadium, Mike Martin Field. You knew that would happen, right? That's well, I guess you shouldn't say you knew that would happen. Last year they lost the season opener, and we were all like, what the hell? I mean, it was not a big deal, but you thought, well, that's not good. By the way, with those 3 victories, Mike Martin is now just 29 games shy of becoming the winningest head coach in college baseball history. March moves on. We figure as much. We got baseball again tomorrow against USF at 4 o'clock at Dick Howser Stadium, Mike Martin Field. Florida State won the basketball game. It was also thought that they needed to win and should win with relative ease. It was not easy. The final margin, if you didn't watch the game, does not necessarily belie the play of the game. It was kind of a frustrating endeavor. I know some who are inclined to panic probably did, but I never at any point thought they were going to lose the basketball game. There were a couple of times where I went, okay, well, this is getting uncomfortable. This is starting to get silly that we're still at the 7-minute mark.
Yeah, 1 possession, 2 possession based upon the
sort of frustrating because you thought when they broke out, I think it's the pressure play from Terrence Mann where they turn the basketball over and Forrest gets it and makes the play. And by the way, Forrest is bailing us out every week now. He's just a good basketball player. I like that kid a lot. But you know, you feel like, okay, you know, that should do it because it ended up in a dunk and you're in good shape. And give Pitt credit, man. They kept fighting. Weird day from the jump because Leonard Hamilton ended up not starting Terrence Mann and Brian Angola due to what he called a small indiscretion. And I'll just say this, and I'll bring it up later in the show. You know, Leonard Hamilton does not waver on the rules. He's got a strict set of rules for his players. I rather admire it because a lot of coaches in almost every discipline find reasons to justify or rationalize why star players need to play when those rules are broken, especially if the magnitude of the game is fairly sizable. It might have been easier to you could argue, to make sure that you adhere to those rules in a game against Pitt, but he would have done so if it was against Duke. That's just who he is. So it didn't surprise me that even though Pitt comes out, just start making threes all over the place, and you've got those 2 guys on the bench, that he didn't put him back in, that he didn't start him, didn't play him, and that was that. I mean, that's who he is. That's who he's always been, and it's admirable. But it made me uncomfortable because it allowed for Pitt to feel better about themselves, that and making a bunch of shots. So you have that. You have the whatever the infraction was, and they didn't see the floor for the first half. PJ Savoy fills in. MJ Walker fills in the starting lineup. And Savoy locked in beyond the arc early on, of course. And, I guess we can't underestimate that at some point becomes a big deal. When he is certainly making threes, it's a different-looking team. Now, I'll grant you we weren't guarding anybody, and Pitt was making a ton of trays. Not customary for Pitt. Statistically speaking, they're terrible, and yet they couldn't miss. 10 of 17 in the first half from beyond the arc. All of that leads to a one-point game at half, and you're going, well, now can nothing come easy?
Right, yeah. Here they are, a borderline top 300 team when it comes to three-pointers, and they're going to hit 10 of them in the first half. But you're right, to see PJ play the way he did, he got back in the starting lineup, which is what the original rotation was way back when in non-conference season, if you can remember back that far. If you could draw it up and say you get a win that is comfortable towards the end, I know, in the flow of the game, that's not the way the game went. But you get PJ to feel good about himself. You see Trent Forrest continue to develop, hit a couple of big free throws in the second half, makes a couple of big baskets, of course. And then Terrence gets involved anyway, and Angola is still a problem. I wonder how much of that is the ankle or how much of it is now mental, where he does not look comfortable on the floor. But you get all these boxes that you can check. Kabengele has a really good second half for you as well. He's in the middle of a lot of action. So you get development in a win where you don't have your stars play in the first half. It may end up working out better for you than it would have been if your rotation was as normal last night with Angola and Mann starting the game.
To the point about Angola, I too am worried that it's beyond the physical now. The physical has affected the mental, it would seem, because he didn't do anything right when he was finally inserted in this game. In fact, you could argue was the reason for Pitt's mini comeback at about the 14:30 mark after Florida State got off to a 9-2 run to start the second half. He was 0 for 2, couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Both those shots are wild shots. They're not anywhere close. He commits a couple fouls. He turns it over. He's just not doing anything right, and they sit him. And you can see the faraway look in his eyes, the frustration on his face, as there would be for a player who's so much better than he's shown in these last few games. So that's got to get righted if you're going to do anything in the way of surprising anybody in the ACC tournament and certainly surprising anybody in the NCAA tournament. Brian Angola cannot continue to be this bad. He's simply right now awful. And I hate saying that because I think he cares deeply and I think he works extremely hard. And certainly at times he has been a kid that carried the team for stretches and was a lights-out scorer for stretches where you really had to have it. He kept us in some games, those kinds of things. That Duke game in particular on the road. But he's a guy. Oh, and he's done it more than that. But I'm just saying he's
the Louisville win on the road. I mean, the first half.
Oh,
he gets in foul trouble second half, but that's not a game in the second half unless he does what he does.
So he's so much better than he's showing, and that's infinitely frustrating for a player. Think about it for in your own life. Whether you're a scratch golfer who listens to this show and you're a pretty good golfer and you have one of those days and you're about to throw up an 88 or something and you're normally really good, but you just can't, you're spraying it all over the lot off the tee, you can't keep it straight, and you're better than that. If that carries over for more than a round of golf, if we get into 2 rounds and 3 rounds and 4 rounds and you have what's called the yips or something, it can get into your head, and it really applies across sport where you're capable, so much more capable than you're showing, and you're starting to think about it, and now it's not a natural motion. So I don't know, and I wish I did. I'd love to just pin this all on the fact that he's had some injury issues, and he has, and maybe that's the genesis for these problems. But I don't know that I saw the same sort of injured-looking Brian Angola that I've seen in the past, and those shots were just startlingly bad. I mean, I don't know, man.
It's like you're guessing almost when you let it go. Well, we'll see what happens. But, hey, all it needs to happen was what? It goes through one time.
Well, and he was saying that. He told, I think is it Corey Alexander that was doing color for the game? I did not attend yesterday's game for various reasons, but I didn't attend it. I watched it on television. I'm guilty. But I think that was who did the color analysis for this game, and he said that about Angola, that basically, hey, look, I just need to see the ball go in. I need to, I got to, whether it's a layup or whatever it is, I got to see it happen, but something to behold. Final stats of the game, Florida State does a much better job in the second half eliminating the three-point shot. Pitt starts fouling in abundance. They end up having their best players foul out of the game. Florida State goes to the free throw line. It's incredible. By the way, at the end of the game, you look at 30-23 margin on the glass for the Noles, 17-3 advantage in second chance points for FSU. You knock down 26 of 47 field goals, so you shoot 55%. You're 7 of 19 from beyond the arc, almost 37%. You go to the free throw line 40 times, 29 of 40. A lot of damage done in the second half there. Ultimately, you do pull away, and you get a win that's fairly lopsided. You do what you're supposed to do. 5 Noles end up in double figures. Again, that's kind of how this team has to win. I thought Trent Forrest was great, 4 of 6 shooting. 4 of 5 free throws, 5 boards, 4 assists, a steal in 27 minutes, all adds up to 12 points. He really kind of sparked us when we needed it in that second half. He's a good player, man.
Yeah, to me, you don't want to have to discipline your 2 best players for any game, period. But it ends up working out okay in this instance because you are able to further what other guys might be able to give to you in a tournament run, ACC tournament run, or a road game, let's say Clemson. That Kabengele gets a little bit more experience, and he gets
knocks down free throws. That's for sure.
He knocks down free throws, and he's around the glass. He's a tough player, but again, remember that's a player who grew up as a guard and then had a growth spurt. And
all I think about is when I see him, how good he's going to be next year.
Right. Again, but that you get these extra minutes and this extra time to develop. That you get PJ feeling good about himself because he's a streaky player. It's not that against the better competition he can't make those shots. He did the first half of ACC play for us last year.
Sure.
Until the league figured him out. He was the weapon that got us started. So by the time we hit the under 12 timeout, we've built ourselves a nice little lead because a role player has come out and started hitting big shots. What if you add that back to the fold with an Angola that has confidence? To go along with Kofor, who can be streaky, or CJ that can be streaky, MJ. You just have all of these extra options, and it changes the dynamic of what you can do offensively and the total you can get to offensively, as we do like to shoot threes. So at the end of the day, I look at that, and I see also in the second half that the turnover story has been completely flipped. A lot of turnovers for us in the first half, little to none in the second half, and Pitt the other way. They hit a lot of threes. They didn't turn the ball over. Second half, they don't hit as many threes, clearly. I mean, you're 290th in the country. You're probably not going to hit another 10 in the second half, but they turn over the ball a bunch. It's just when it was time to clamp down, we clamped down. I get it was close into the under 8, down to about 4 minutes to go, but we pull away, we get the job done, and now we have a week to think about the last 3 in ACC regular season play.
Rest up, get right, everybody get healthy, get focused. Let's go on a run, see if you can't garner maybe more than one win in this stretch of 3 that you have to play. Oh, by the way, certainly last night's win was not considered a quadrant 1 win, given the fact that our RPI dropped all the way from 37 to 45 with the win. You can figure what that would have looked like had you lost the basketball game, right? I mean, that's amazing. Having said that, Florida State moves into the top 25, and there's something to be said for that. When you look at that next to your name, it's always nice to see that you're ranked nationally in the top 25. That would have been a devastating loss, to say the least, and I keep going back over that, but winning the game sees you drop from 37 to 45 in the RPI. Louisville, by the way, dropped out of the RPI top 50, while Florida, 17-10, 8-6 in the SEC, plummeting now to 63rd in the RPI. Their road loss to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, but they were one of those top 4 seeds when the NCAA released their 16 last week. Yeah, okay.
Interesting enough, huh? Look, at the end of the day, Florida State is in a very, very good position, advantageous to making the tournament, which is all we have been striving towards all year long. I'll say here now, I'll say it later in the show. This is a flawed team. They have a lot of problems. Most of them are on the defensive end. They don't guard people all that well. They lack some lateral speed and quickness. So they struggle to stay in front of people. They don't have a dominant inside presence, even though they have a guy that's over 7 feet tall. He's just not big enough, strong enough, physical enough to dominate down there. And he doesn't have more than one post move. He just doesn't have a lot that he can. So you can't. So when you get into the NCAA tournament in time, it's the same thing that happens in the NBA playoff. The benches shorten, jump shots are more contested, harder to come by. Your flaws are exposed to a greater degree. And I get that that's on the mind of people who want for their team to go to the Final Four or the national championship game. But if you looked at Florida State before this season and had an expectation of that, well, that was absurd given what Florida State lost. So to me, this whole thing was about overcoming devastating losses in the form of 2 NBA players and an international basketball player and all of the points those guys provided you. So when I watch this game play out against Pitt, I'm thinking more in terms of don't blow what you've accomplished this year. Don't throw it all away on a night like tonight against that team. Just do what you've done something that warrants our praise to this point, but you would have thrown it completely out the window with a loss here. I would have ventured to guess that would have been arguably Leonard Hamilton's worst loss here. It would have been indefensible.
Given the time of the season that it occurred?
Yeah, well, and the team, listen, Pitt hasn't won a game in 2 months. They're
right.
0-15.
Yeah.
They've lost 15 straight.
Those Auburn losses were pretty terrible around New Year's, a couple of times that we lost on the road there. But again, yes, given the circumstances, what's on the line.
Yeah, a home loss,
right.
home to
right.
a team that hasn't won in 2 months, that's lost 15 straight games, that's 8-20.
Yeah.
You could have it would have been in the discussion, and I didn't want to have that conversation, especially since it's largely unfair, but it would have been something you could not deny. I mean, there's no way to come on here and say that that's okay. Now, they won the game, and they won the game by double digits, so it's not even in the conversation. But as I'm watching it, I'm viewing it through that prism. I'm going, no. As a Nole, I'm proud of the way you guys have played and worked your way into a position now to be a team of consequence, to get to the NCAA tournament. Don't do this. This can't happen, and it didn't. You breathe. Sometimes you get caught up, especially when you're so worried about the worst case scenario. But the best case scenario for me all year long has been just get back to the tournament. And at 8-7 in the ACC, 19-8 overall, winners now have 2 straight. You look like you are certainly on your way to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I think point blank, you win one of these final 3 ACC regular season games, and you're going to the tournament. Now it's just a matter of about what your seeding is going to be. How much damage can you do over the next 3 games? Because what if you win 2 out of 3, and one of the wins is over Clemson on the road? I mean, again, Clemson's record is falling, and this is something I talked about last week. They had an 0-2 week, and of course you can't blame them. They lose a game that they had command of, but goes to overtime. They lose in Tallahassee. That's rough. And then you lose to Duke. That's going to happen. But, if Clemson loses a couple more games, and then we're looking at somewhere similar in the standings, it might not help our RPI out as much as it did the moment we beat them Wednesday night, and they were number 4 in the country RPI-wise. But at the same time, you look at the seedings of 7-10 right now. Teams like Alabama are around us, and Kentucky, and Miami has fallen all the way down into an 8 seed, I think. We're looking at something between a 7 and a 10, unless we win out or lose out. I think that's really where we're looking, and that's going to pair you with a number 1 or a number 2 seed in a regional. I mean, short of something crazy, other teams around you falling apart or all getting it together with 2 weeks to go in the season, or us winning out in the regular season or losing out in the regular season. That's pretty much our home in the brackets is going to be somewhere between the 7 line and the 10 line.
It's fun either way. It's only fun if you're in the tournament. For years we hadn't been, and we got a taste of it last year. And while nobody liked losing in the manner that we did last year in the second round of the tournament, I wasn't going to overlook the 26 wins and a victory in the tournament and all of that. And what my biggest fear was, again, not getting back there. You're inconsequential in the world of basketball if you don't make the NCAA tournament. That's just the way it is. I mean, and so you got to find a way to string some of these together, even in years where you don't have an elite team, because the better programs do. The better programs are consistently in the NCAA tournament. There are years where you say, they're not nearly as strong as they are. Typically, they're not a factor. But they go. And when you go, and the more you go, the more chances you give yourself to have that magical run, that moment. I'm not even talking about a national championship, although that'd certainly be the end game. Just have one of those runs. We see it all the time. I mean, that the year Syracuse made the run they did through the tournament where they were terrible during the regular season. That was not a great team.
No,
they barely got in.
Given what we are, we're capable of a lot, but we're also capable of disappointing in a way that's kind of special too. That's the danger of what our record says we are and what the results have said that we're capable of doing. Man, you get to the second weekend this year.
Oh, buddy.
I mean, that's your magical run right there, because then you'll have beaten by the odds, at least where they lay right now. You'll have beaten a number 1 or a number 2 seed in the tournament.
Downright giddy, buddy.
I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's all it would take for us to think fondly of this team is to make it to the second weekend of the tournament.
let me tell you something. If they somehow made it that far with this team is flawed. I love them.
Yeah.
They're better than people thought they'd be, but they're real flawed.
Yes.
I mean,
They
come
can
on.
street fight you, but then they can drop a fight out of nowhere.
I'd be stunned if they did that. Just get there, guys. 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Their customers in a safe and responsible manner is their top priority. They're proud to be a part of the local community and participate in the many activities that support local charities and organizations that improve the neighborhoods where we all work, live, and play. For your propane needs, call on AmeriGas Propane. Call 877-1122.
Brad Paisley, Weekend Warrior World Tour. Friday, March 9th, Donald L. Tucker Civic Center. With special guests Dustin Lynch and Chase Bryant. Tickets are on sale now. Online at tuckerciviccenter.com. Brad Paisley. Tickets are on sale now.
Barry knows school, he's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows school, you can put him to the test.
Seasons change, but your confidence in your home comfort system shouldn't. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, you'll be comfortable in your home all year long. This winter, take advantage of great rebates and 0% APR financing for 36 months. Learn more online at BaranoAC.com.
Barano Heating and Air Conditioning.
Florida license number CAC 057652.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. They have daily lunch specials, all under $9. Happy hour drink specials and happy hour on Friday, 2 p.m. to close. Darts are now available on West Pensacola Street. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers, plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill, 3 locations to choose from: 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
As a small business owner, you're juggling it all, including customers' calls from your personal phone. But with Grasshopper, you get a business phone number and a business phone system from our mobile app, so you can work smarter, not harder. Grasshopper forwards calls, texts, even transcribes voicemails. Everything you need to simplify your business and stay responsive. With Grasshopper, there's no long-term contracts, and customer support is 24/7. Whether you're starting or growing your business, Grasshopper is the answer. Now get $20 off your first month when you visit grasshopper.com/radio.
During Aaron's anniversary this February, you're going to be blown away with 6 months same as cash. And this weekend only, during our President's Day event, we've got a daily mystery offer for you. For just $1 or $5 or $20, you can get started leasing to own furniture, electronics, and appliances with no credit needed and free delivery and setup. Visit a participating Aaron's store or Aaron's.com this Thursday through Monday to discover the daily mystery offer. Transaction advertised as a rental purchase agreement. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio. I joked about that was not a quadrant one win. Have you gone through and looked at that this year? The way that they are looking at these wins and losses, quadrant one, quadrant two, quadrant three wins.
No, I mean, I'm assuming it's somewhat similar to the old metrics, top 50, top 100 wins. And
they use the RPI. They do. But by the way, over the weekend, well, at least on Saturday, I didn't factor in Sunday. 19 bubble teams played. 17 of them won. 4 had big wins. And so the cut line got stronger. That would be bad for teams like Nebraska and Middle Tennessee State and other teams like that. But when you go through and look at trying to figure out what's a bubble team and I actually found myself intrigued by this. I'm going through the process of trying to identify the bubble. Quadrant one is a win that you get where you're at home versus a 1 through 30 RPI team, okay? Another quadrant one win is a neutral site game against the top 50 RPI team.
Okay. Or road? Or
road is against the top 75 RPI.
Whoa, okay.
So quadrant one wins are if you're at home versus a top 30 team, you get the benefit of that, but you're at home, so we're not going to expand it.
Okay, so NC State, for example, is right around 70, I think it is, in the RPI, 60 to 70, somewhere in there.
If they're there and we go win that game on the road, that's a quadrant one win.
So Gene could say, a quadrant one win on the road.
He could. And if we won that game, you add that to the tally of quadrant one wins, and the committee is going to look at how many quadrant one wins you have and juxtapose it to, quadrant four. And okay, so quadrant two is a home win, 31 to 75 in the RPI, all right?
Okay.
Neutral, 51 to 100. So if you're in a neutral site game and you play somebody in the RPI 51 to 100 and you get a win, that's a quadrant two win, not a quadrant one, quadrant two, Tom.
Okay.
Quadrant three is a road win against any team 75 to 135 or 76 to 135 in the RPI. You beat a team in the top 76 to 135 on the road, then it's a nice quadrant two win, Tom.
Well, I guess that's what's going to happen with Florida here by the end of their schedule, right? is that win back in November or December is going to it's going to turn back to a quadrant two win.
Good. Quadrant three are home wins against 76 to 160. Neutral site wins 100 to 200. Okay, got it?
Yeah.
Road 136 to 240.
Maybe it doesn't have the answer here, but is it about your RPI ranking at the time that you earn the win, or is it like, at the end of the season, now it's Election Sunday, all the RPIs have completely shaken out, including conference tournaments, and now we're going to assign quadrants to the victories or losses?
I think it's at the time, but I'm not sure. Okay. And I was reading a Rob Doster article who does a great job of covering college basketball, and he was saying, look, it's worth reminding you here that the way winning are labeled have changed the season. Instead of looking at all top 50 wins equally, the selection committee will be using criteria that breaks wins down in 4 quadrants, which use the RBI at the time of the game. So
at the time.
But wait a minute. Now, I don't know. I got to double check on this because here's the thing. If you're top 10 at the time I beat you, and then you rattle off 15 straight losses or something, I can't possibly get the credit for that. Right?
I agree. That's an absurd example, but what that does do is insulate against injury changing a course of a season.
Yeah.
So if you have 2 of your star players go down and now you're RPI 80, well, I'm not going to reduce the quadrant of your victory because at the time those 2 kids were healthy when you beat them.
It's just I want people to realize they're not doing the same old, hey, this is the RPI, this was the RPI win. No, it's quadrants.
They're trying to have more proof to be able to cite on Selection Sunday when they say,
Which
we
is
went
smart.
with this team against this team because of their Quadrant 2 victories. If you look at their Quadrant 2 games,
But you know what? You do
they're
want to
2
do
games
that.
over 500 in Quadrant 2.
Well, you do want to do that. You do want to cite that all wins are not created equal, all losses are not created equal, and you do want to be able to say, listen, this falls in a certain category that we value, this category we don't value, or doesn't mean nearly as much. And I'm okay with that. Anything that adds to the process and renders it a little bit clearer. Now, listen, I that doesn't render anything clearer because for some people that are hearing that or reading that for the first time, it can be a little messy. But if it's spelled out before you, it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah. So no matter what Florida does, what we did to them in their building,
I don't think that's right.
In
I
beating
think
them for the 4th year in a row, that's just a Q1.
Was it 4th or 5th? I get it confused because of the football wins in a row.
Yeah, 5 in football.
So many times in a row.
Yeah.
You just forget after a while.
Yeah.
They kind of bleed together.
They got a cute baseball program, though.
Oh,
They're a baseball school.
More than cute.
That's what
More
they've
than
been.
Cute. It's good baseball program.
Well, that's what they've been, a baseball school, you know?
They should certainly hang their hat
That's
on it.
clearly their priority. It's baseball.
I can't even make fun of them. They won the damn national title.
Yeah, but they're a baseball school.
Well,
they should.
Certainly not a football school.
They should win the title.
Yeah, that's true. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
On Echo? Pretty neat, huh? Now you can find us on there. Just say, Alexa, enable ESPN Radio Tallahassee. Once you've enabled our skill, you can listen to us anytime you want. Simply say, Alexa, play ESPN Radio Tallahassee.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. As most of you know, it's that time of year again. Tax refund time. What does that mean for all of us? It means that every single car dealer in town will be trying to shout the loudest for you to bring in your tax refund. Bring in your W-2s, and they will put you in a car, a used car that is nothing like what you really want. Well, guess what? Kraft Nissan's New For You program is an absolute game changer. We don't need your tax return. We don't need to see your W-2. And absolutely the best of all, we will not sell you an overpriced used car. And that is exactly why at Kraft Nissan, we call it the New For You program. We will plug your information into our system, which approves 4 out of 5 people with damage credit. And at the end of the day, you will drive away in a brand new Nissan, with or without a tax refund. You know the deal. Recently divorced? No problem. Recent bankruptcy? No problem. Credit score under 600? No problem. And it's not tied to taxes. Come see how easy it is for you to drive away in a new Kraft Nissan. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag in your car, you paid too much. Way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
This Day in Sports, brought to you by Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary. Get your history lesson weekdays at 5:30 during the Jeff Cameron Show, right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachian Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Did you know that one major advantage of propane cooking is that it offers more precise temperature control than electric? That means perfectly cooked meals every time. Propane also heats your home faster and maintains the warmth longer than electric or fuel oil, allowing you to potentially reduce your energy bill. If you'd like to know more, contact AmeriGas Propane right here in Tallahassee at 877-1122.
Today is your last chance to take advantage of the President's Day sale at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop in today and get 5 quarts of Castrol High Mileage Motor Oil for $19.95, plus earn 150 O Rewards points with this purchase. Protect your engine with Castrol High Mileage Motor Oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left.
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
It's Golick and Wingo.
I did hurt my shoulder walking the dogs yesterday. In the woods, Harry was going to take off, my young pug, and as he took off, the leash was wrapped around my legs. I tried to be athletic, figured I'd hop out of it. It caught me on the side of the ankle. I fell on my elbow and jammed my shoulder badly. It's a shoulder that only had 3 operations. So
how many did the other shoulder have?
7, so that's the bad shoulder.
Okay.
Golick and Wingo, weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
So we have a commit for 2020?
All right.
That's one line I haven't been able to cross.
So I guess it was sophomore day for the weekend, too.
Apparently that went really well. I don't know.
So they say.
The 2019 group, elite playmakers. Now we got a 2020 class guy. All right.
I think
I can't do that. It was junior day. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I think the good news is that we're getting to a point with this coaching staff where we'll probably be able to trust them the way we just did with Jimbo before this past season. It's like
without question.
They're gonna turn the kids loose, and they're gonna find that 1 or 2 that really can self-recruit their own year, their future teammates, and bam, they're gonna do it with the coaches. And the one thing about the junior day that they do differently than Jimbo is they bring in a smaller group, and they want it to feel more intimate. So they're bringing in high caliber players, but a lower count of them, and they want to get more one-on-one time with each of the players. That's the principal difference, but I think they're going to close just as well.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate, and that is something that Jimbo Fisher and his staff did very, very well. It got to a point pretty early on. We closely monitored, I think, the first couple of years because that transition was of vital importance. Florida State had been down for some time, and the idea was, okay, I need to see the evidence that there is going to be a turnaround and soon, because we were really longing for the days where we were of note in college football. And so anytime you could identify a difference maker, a game changer in a segment, you got excited because it had been so long. We weren't really routinely bringing in big-time players at the most important positions, and you knew we were losing the war on the line of scrimmage more than anything else. So early on, you watched for that. You looked really closely. Hey, where are we at with this? But once he proved beyond a shadow of a doubt, Jimbo that is, and his staff, that they were big-time recruiters and they were as advertised, and that was why he put that group together. We knew that, certain decisions were made on that staff solely based in recruiting. Jimbo figured, I'll do the rest to the point of exhaustion. We got to where we could just trust that, okay, you throw me a name, that's great. I got it. If that's my thing, I'm a recruitnik, as I say. I'm sure I'm watching the film and getting excited about what a kid could bring to the table. Or you're the more common fan, which is that I trust that the guy we're paying a lot of money to here and handing the keys over to can get the job done at a place like Florida State, where traditionally it's been a place to recruit to amongst the top 10. Let's see evidence of that. Okay, we do? Okay, good. Because that's what I end up doing, right? And I don't care who you talk to, almost to a man, whether they are somebody that covers Florida State or covers recruiting as a whole, or even covers another team, but is knowledgeable of Willie Taggart and the staff that he's put together. The one universally agreed upon thing here is that group is going to recruit, that they will have, their expertise without question lies in recruiting. It's everything else. We want to see the offense. We want to see style of play and tempo and everything they're going to do that's so different.
Saw a quote attributed to Willie Taggart. It was in a Bianchi column this weekend talking about the class, at least, and not the recruiting class, but just the level of class that Willie has shown so far at this point in his coaching career. And I'll spare you all the details. If you want to read it, it's a good read. Again, he works for the Orlando Sentinel, Mike Bianchi does. But at the end, he talks about Jimbo Fisher, and he has a quote about Jimbo. It's his block quote, and he's talking about how, Jimbo made a lot of Noles proud. Like, I don't know what happened towards the end, but he made a lot of Noles proud, and I was one of them. That is the perfect quote in order to transition.
Willie's quote. That was Willie's quote. Yeah.
Again, this is not a column. This is a quote attributed to Willie Taggart saying, he made me proud as a Nole.
Well, yeah, and it's smart on a lot of levels.
It's a beautiful way to just cut it and be done with it. That's as nicely put as possible. You're classy about the guy that came before you who won a national title and did kick ass and take names in the state of Florida for a long time.
But you announced that you're the guy now and it's time to move on without being,
But it's all yours. But he does it in a way that's not, an underhanded or a backhanded dig at Jimbo while saying something complimentary. It's saying, man, I'm a Nole too. I was watching from afar. I was rooting for Florida State. I mean, that's just so perfectly done in transitioning from one era to the next.
Here's another way of looking at it, and this is from Dave, who wrote us at the end of last week when we were on this subject, and I think this is a smart way of doing it too, at least in order to clear your own mind and feel better about transition. Hey, Jeff, love what you do. I've been listening to all the talk about Jimbo. Here's my take. Jimbo always wanted to be an SEC guy. It was a matter of time before he left here. Texas A&M threw stupid money at him, and he made him feel welcome there because of some of the leadership there, and he had to go. Beyond that, we needed him to go. Nole fans should just bid him adieu, be thankful for the good that he did on the field there, and move on to the Taggart era. That's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
I mean, now – you can get into some of the nuance in this and say, well, yeah, but you're also allowed to retort when he undermines that exit by taking shots.
Sure.
But
saying no brainer to start, all that kind of stuff.
All the dumb stuff that occurred there. But, I got you. But at the same time, I think that that's a healthy outlook. I don't know, we would not have been, and I keep coming back to this point whenever it's brought up, and it's not a means by which to take a shot at Jimbo. It's just assessing the larger picture as a whole. We would not have been prepared and equipped, I don't think, just where the tenure was at that point, to really engage in what's going to be a fierce battle in this state and the South in general, if we had stayed as is. And so just for whatever reason, without getting bogged down by all the details of that, we were not in a good place to be able to compete against what we see now at Florida, what Mark Richt is doing at Miami, obviously what Georgia has done. Kirby has come to play. It is obvious this last class announces that yet again. Alabama, that's annual. So you get it, right? We're in this place now where, and as I've said numerous times, it's not just the big teams in the Power Five. This is a state that features several good recruiters with the smaller schools too. So, it is. I continually breathe a sigh of relief in recognition as today they get underway with their workouts and Willie Taggart and staff begin the process of building the program in their image and the way they want it done and bonding and all of the things that Willie's talked about before.
Well, and this isn't to set up an excuse in case the success doesn't come as quickly, like in year 1 or year 2, for Willie as it did Jimbo, because that, I personally expect 9 or 10 wins. The program's in a better place from a talent standpoint than it was when Jimbo took over. There's no doubt. It's in terms of experience, talent too. It's in a world's better place than it was when Jimbo took over in the spring of 2010.
Yeah, without question, yeah.
But look at the landscape of the world of college football as Willie Taggart is introduced as head coach at Florida State in December of this past year.
Yeah, Mullen at Florida, Smart at Georgia, Richt in Miami.
Dabo at Clemson in your division.
Yeah.
Again, Dabo at Clemson in your division, which would have been a punchline in that year, is now something you say, oh, man.
And let's not forget that even though, they lose an all-time great at quarterback, they still have, in terms of offensive minds, a real good coach at Louisville.
Yeah.
So,
and you open up with Virginia Tech on a Monday night here at Doak.
Upgraded the coaching position at Virginia Tech, I might add.
Correct, and you played Notre Dame on the road in your first year. And, they got it back together last season. It didn't finish the way they wanted it to, but they're certainly at a level that's, a little bit more consistent. So there's just so many more challenges in Tallahassee than there were even back in 2010. So perhaps it was time, and it all worked out for us the best way it possibly could have.
I think it did, and that only comes up again because today they get started their workouts, and way back in the day, mat drills as they were known. I remember every year when mat drills would come around, and you'd hear from former players, and I'm friends with Eric Llewellyn, of course, and he was a former player here, and he would talk about the horrors of mat drills, and just knowing guys that went through all of that. That was legendary, and every staff has got their own way of doing things, but it always is that first initial check mark. Okay, here we go.
I think the fun thing about college football is it continues to surprise in one way. Maybe not with who are going to be, the main candidates for the college football playoff. And I know that's getting a lot of run right now is, how many teams can reasonably expect to be in that conversation?
Well, yeah.
3 out of every 5 years. 12, 16, 20
maybe,
of them,
right.
maybe. But when Jimbo took over, the ACC was just this, ticket. If you went undefeated, you played Florida, you played Miami every year. It's just this meal ticket to the BCS title game. If you go undefeated and run the table, you're going to be one of the top 2 teams in the country in this conference that's kind of an also-ran, but nobody really talks about it that much. Then the playoff comes and they say, well, the Power 5, who's going to get left out? Probably the ACC, if they're not careful. If it's not Florida State, who really at that point would have the reputation? That conference doesn't to carry a candidate of its own.
Carry the weight, right.
And now you think about the playoff. It's the Pac-12 or the Big 12. It's not going to be the ACC that's left out. It's incredible how different the world of college football is compared to the way it was even 5 years ago when it comes to power structure and conferences.
Difficult to come in at the time that Willie does because Miami had remained dormant for so long, and Jimmo helped hammer that point home repeatedly. But, there was Miami who was just sort of, still sorry-ass Miami. Amazingly, after a while, that's just kind of what you looked at.
Top 10 on a Saturday night. Florida State beats them. They lose their next 3.
Yeah, that's just always what it was annually. And then, of course, Virginia Tech at the end of the Frank Beamer era, we were seeing similar signs, unfortunately for him. And that was kind of, we've been there, done that.
Well,
hey, buddy.
The Coastal was, the conference was a joke when Jimbo took over as head coach. Clemson's pretty good. They're okay. But they're not what they are now by any stretch.
Right.
The Coastal, forget about the Coastal. There's nothing there.
Right.
And now the Coastal's got some candidates that are legitimate, and they have a good 5-year outlook, at least in Miami and at Virginia Tech.
Without question, they do. And then Louisville is now obviously at least pesky, without question. And obviously Clemson is a juggernaut, and we are
in the
hoping
sport
to get
they're a
back.
juggernaut.
Yeah, that's what I mean, in the sport, right? No, it's a different deal than ever before. Look, I think that the interesting offseason question has been, by and large, what is a reasonable expectation? Once we got past the recruiting, once we got past can you salvage something to this class? What kind of players do we have? What's the talent level going to be? What's the depth chart look like? All right, well, look, it's a talented group. Are they flawed some? Yes. Are they going to be an elite team this first year? I don't think so. Can they, the idea being, can you win 9-10 games in your first season? Well, again, you have to look at the schedule there. But I remember thinking, well, of all, of all of the games, in a vacuum, you can easily come up with 9 wins. When you do that, you go, oh, yeah, I can come up with 9 wins. But when you look at the way those are played, I don't know, especially if you lose your first one. And
then you're staring 8-4 right in the face.
Right in the face, pretty easily. And so trying to wrap your mind around what's a reasonable expectation in year one, we're in the process of that. There's the other side of it. I've talked to people who are high on everything that's happened. They're ready to move on, and they're excited about Taggart and the staff that he's put together. But they do not have an overly optimistic outlook for year one. Part of it's quarterback situation, maybe. Part of it's that you start with Virginia Tech. Part of it's that you're just not where you need to be against Clemson yet. You're on the road against Miami, those kinds of things. On the road against Notre Dame, as you put it. You can easily find a way to lose some games there, and year one could be, I guess, viewed as a disappointment. The other side of that has been what I've said all along, which is that if you were fractured, if you had problems in that locker room, if there was a disconnect between the coaches and players, and that what you had was talented players not reaching their potential because of the situation that had gotten ugly here, what happens if they buy all in and they're all on the same page and this becomes a happy family again, and they're put in an offense in which athletes play in space and are allowed to make plays? It's not overly complicated. Here we go. All of a sudden, you could see it well above and beyond whatever that meek win total is for those that are negative in their mindset. And I'm not saying that as a disparaging remark for people who are not optimistic. Just let's say if you are a glasses half empty kind of guy.
Right, you're looking at 8-4 as your over-under.
As your over-under, right.
Yeah.
I could say, well, what if all these guys are on the same page, absolutely buy in, love one another, play hard for one another, reach their capability, play in an offense that allows them to make great plays in space. You could see a 10-win team without blinking an eye, right? I mean, you beat Virginia Tech and you win one of those tough road games, whether that's against Miami or Notre Dame, you're going to get there.
Right, yeah. No, there's no doubt. It's I think I'm like you were in the morning when we were talking off the air. Now you've got me pumped. Now I feel like it's Thursday before we play Virginia Tech.
I'll make fun of that later, but we got a long ways to go, and that's the hard part of this.
Well, yeah, but when we're show prepping this morning,
I know. I'm saying
you had that little extra football wins, and it's we're only getting into the warmth of the year.
Well,
we're not coming out of it.
Yeah, I do need to share why that was. I'll do that. I do have to. It's because I'm making fun of myself too, and everybody who's just like me. It's all right. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Ira Shafel, WarChant.com, set to join us. Stay tuned.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with Easy Laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's easy laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
Nestled in Midtown Tallahassee, you'll find a piece of old Ireland. Finnegan's Wake Irish Pub. Locally owned and operated, Finnegan's Wake is the only pub in Tallahassee with an authentic Irish bar. Finnegan's Wake offers the largest selection of Irish whiskey in town and pours more Guinness than any bar or restaurant from Pensacola to Jacksonville. Open daily from 3 p.m. to 2 a.m., Finnegan's offers live music from local and national acts, karaoke, and hospitality nights, and is Tallahassee's premier viewing location for all professional soccer leagues matches. Finnegan's Wake Irish Pub, right off Thomasville Road next to 5th and Thomas. Come join us for a pint, a match, and more stories.
As a small business owner, you're juggling it all, including customers' calls from your personal phone. But with Grasshopper, you get a business phone number and a business phone system from our mobile app, so you can work smarter, not harder. Grasshopper forwards calls, texts, even transcribes voicemails. Everything you need to simplify your business and stay responsive. With Grasshopper, there's no long-term contracts, and customer support is 24/7. Whether you're starting or growing your business, Grasshopper is the answer. Now get $20 off your first month when you visit grasshopper.com/radio.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, I'm Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. Some roofers are like a bad boyfriend. They make lots of promises, but in reality, they're just cheap. They don't own up to their mistakes, and they leave you with a lot of regret. Parker Brothers Roofing stands behind every installation, and if a mistake is made, we own it and fix it. Our customers never have to worry about being left behind for the next job. At Parker Brothers, it's quality that builds our quantity. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Brad Paisley, Weekend Warrior World Tour. Friday, March 9th, Donald L. Tucker Civic Center. With special guests Dustin Lynch and Chase Bryant. Tickets are on sale now. Online at tuckerciviccenter.com. Brad Paisley. Tickets are on sale now.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
Driving every day from the AmeriGas studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio. WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred wants to speed up the game. This season, there will be 2 new pace of play rules. First, teams will be limited to 6 mound visits without pitching changes, and there will also be a countdown clock to track the breaks between innings. Mostly positive reviews for the new NBA All-Star Game format. Team LeBron beat Team Steph 148-145. Steph Curry says all the players enjoyed it.
Take ownership of the game and understand that there's a way to do it to up the level of competitiveness and the intensity a little bit. Protect each other, obviously, avoid injuries or whatnot, but to put on a great show and have an actual game.
In the new AP College Basketball Top 25, the top 4 stay the same. Virginia at number 1, followed by Michigan State, Villanova, and Xavier. Duke moves up to number 5. Kansas is up to 8th, and the Jayhawks will host Oklahoma tonight, the game at 9 Eastern on ESPN. On ESPN2, a women's hoops top 25 triple header starting at 6 Eastern with Florida State at Duke.
You know when something's so obvious they call it a no-brainer? Well, here's a big one. Barbasol is finally making razors. Introducing the Barbasol Ultra 6 Plus. It's got 6 ultra-thin blades for a close, comfortable shave. You can go to Barbasol.com right now and save some money. That's a no-brainer, too.
Live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Good Monday, everybody. Hope you had a good weekend. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. Sometimes you do. If that's the case, all 3 hours posted both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. Upon the conclusion of the program, always, you can email us if you like, jcs at 979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at jcameronshow, WTSM app for your mobile devices. And if you want to watch us perform radio duties here, go to YouTube, type in ESPN Tallahassee. You'll find us. Hope you're doing well. You can also Periscope us on Twitter at 979 ESPN Radio. If you follow that feed, you can watch us do that as well. Joined every Monday, as we're wont to do, is our friend Ira Schoffel, warchant.com, joining us now. I can do it. Hello, Ira. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, Jeff. How are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. You happy about early morning drills beginning? We out there taking pictures?
No. It's one of those things, man, where if we want the access, we want to be able to come cover it, but I'm not dying to get out there at 6 in the morning either. So we'll see. But I do know that from everything we've heard, Willie Taggart's a morning guy. He likes morning workouts and morning practices. So we might have some of those in our future one way or the other.
Oh, I'm all right with that, buddy. I'm a morning kind of guy. Rolling on over, buddy. I'll pick you up some coffee on the way.
You know what? I actually, as far as sports writers go, I can hang with it more than most. But, some of our friends in the media will not be happy at all if we have to go out there at 5 or 6 in the morning.
Struggling. Certain guys we know, kind of short, bald, might have a hard time making their way out there for those early morning workouts. I was actually smiling when I saw that you had pinned something for warchant.com regarding the chase and the early morning workout and all that good stuff. I'll be like everybody else, every other fan in the world, eager to see how this all plays out as we get to know these coaches and these players and how slowly but surely, and it starts with the little things like this, not little to the team, but little to us in the media covering it. It starts with little things like this, formerly known as fourth quarter drills, and before that, mat drills, right? This is where where the team personality and togetherness and the bond is shaped.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we kind of get into the mechanisms of it. With Jimbo Fisher with the fourth quarter drills, one of the big things he really emphasized was that they were football movements. He felt like mat drills, yes, it got you in better shape, but it wasn't always football movements and football skills. So he felt like that was the next generation of that. Man, at the end of the day, I think it's all, it's just working hard and getting in good shape and building that camaraderie and going through all those tough times so that when you get in tough times in games, you guys have that to reflect on. And to me, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. They can call it whatever they want. They can involve whatever tools or ropes or tires or swings or whatever else they want to bring out there. But at the end of the day, it's, those guys have to be willing to put in the effort, put in the sweat equity so that they're invested. And then when times are tough during the season, they can rely upon that. And I think, if you look back at the last couple of years, you just wonder if that's one of the places that things were slipping. And that can happen when you're in year 7 or 8 of a system. And a new beginning always kind of yields better results and that type of thing because everybody's excited about a fresh start.
Yeah, livened you up. Segue to the basketball game for a moment. I'm curious if you were like me at all. I know maybe not from a rooting interest per se as you're covering the game, but at 74-71 with 3:29 to play, did it ever cross your mind that Florida State could do the unthinkable yesterday and lose to this Pitt team?
that was probably the only time it really did. In the first half, I wasn't too concerned because I had
because
a
it was
feeling
absurd.
He was going to play Man and Angola in the second half,
right?
And so I figured, okay, those guys will come in, they'll get that spark, they'll run away with this, and Pitt'll fold. And it looked like that was going to happen. Terrence Mann came in with a ton of energy, looks great. They certainly looked like they were about to blow them out, and then all of a sudden they start taking crazy shots and still not defending very well, and then it's back in the game again. And I'm thinking, one of two things is going to happen. Either Pitt's going to remember that they're Pitt, or Florida State's going to panic because, we could actually lose this game to Pitt. And, thankfully for Florida State, I think the former is what happened. FSU, played the way they should have down the stretch and got the win. At the end of the day, I don't think it's a game people are going to really remember.
No.
But, yeah, during those few minutes, you had to sweat it out.
Well, right, because what you're talking about is the spark to start the second half that Florida State begins with, and they develop a 10-point lead just like that. It's 58-48. You feel good I think it's at the 12 or 13-minute mark at that point, and you don't really figure a team like Pitt, who hasn't won in 2 months and is 0-14 in the conference at the time, is going to mount any sort of comeback. So 10-point deficit for Pitt, and the next thing you know, it's a 3-point game with under 4 to play, and I'm thinking, well, this is how teams begin to feel the weight of that moment and the pressure of the moment, because this is a cannot-lose game for Florida State. Luckily, it didn't happen, and like you said, they pull away real late, and now you get a week to rest, which is really kind of the important part here, is you get this chance to get healthy. I'm conflicted because on the one hand, I get when fans get frustrated with the way Florida State can be Jekyll and Hyde and get angry about being in a close game against a Pitt or something like that late. But at the same time, I think back to the beginning of the season, and I keep repeating this over and over again, nobody really expected much from Florida State. The idea that you would lose 2 guys to the NBA, that you would lose another important scorer at the very least, or a guy who could get his own shot for stretches at a time to international basketball, and still be in a position to make the tournament. Well, that was all that you really could hope for, right? Are you in a position at the end of the day in one of, if not the best conference in America, to overcome those losses and make the NCAA tournament? And as they sit here and I'm talking to you now, they are absolutely in that position.
Oh, 100%. And really, that game, again, didn't really bother me from the standpoint. In the micro, it doesn't bother me that it was a close game when you consider the fact that you did sit your 2 top scorers for half the game. And we all know what happens. It throws your rhythm off. It changes everything. Even though Mann gave them some energy, Angola never got into any kind of rhythm at all and looked really bad. So, to me, you won the game. What happened and the fact that it was close doesn't bother me at all because of those circumstances. On the macro side, the fact that you've got 2 veteran players, a junior and a senior, guys who've been in the program and guys who are top players, getting disciplined at this point in the season where you need every possible win. You're in a position to, and I'm not going to pretend to say I know exactly what they did or that it was anything bad, but the fact that they're not entirely focused right now on getting their team into the postseason that's bothersome. And I think Leonard Hamilton's trying to send a message, and maybe he saw the Pitt game as the opportunity to do it because it is a game that you should win even without those 2 guys playing for a half. But at the same time, that's disappointing to me. The fact that Leonard Hamilton at this point of the season had to be disciplining 2 of his team leaders with so much on the line late in the season.
It's disappointing to me too. And the only other thing I'll say about that is, man, he is nothing if not consistent. Leonard Hamilton does not care if you're the best player or the worst player, if this is the biggest game of the year or the least important game of the year. If you violate whatever one of those rules are, no matter how small, he's unwavering. You are going to sit. You are going to be punished in some capacity. It's actually quite admirable.
It totally is, and I agree with you. And I don't have a problem with him not discussing it. He's been consistent with that as well. He'll say it's a team issue. The fact that he said it was an indiscretion is probably more than you're usually going to get.
I was going to say, boy, that's really opening up.
So that's not unexpected either, and that's what usually happens. You see it all the time when they bring in a freshman or a sophomore. It used to happen all the time when a freshman or a junior college transfer would come in. Almost invariably, those guys would miss a game or 2 early in the year due to suspensions for little things. He's just setting that tone you just don't usually see it for upperclassmen and guys who really, by all accounts, are really good guys, really good teammates, really good representatives of the program. I mean, I've never heard one bad thing about either one of those guys. So, again, I'm sure he's just sending a message, and I'm sure it got through loud and clear. It's not like those guys sulked or anything. But that, to me, that's more concerning than the fact that they didn't play well without those two guys in the game.
The biggest takeaway I continue to have is that I can't decide where we're at with Brian Angola right now and how concerned are they getting over there, because I get it. He didn't play the first half, so his numbers are going to be limited. But when he did play, he was terrible. And he was 0 of 2, and they were both terrible shots and never came close. And he also committed a turnover and committed 2 fouls and did nothing on the defensive end. He was just terrible. So, okay, we know that he and Mann were nursing injuries, and that's going to affect your play. Mann looks like I saw some of that spring, certainly when he came out there in the second half on both those dunks. So he's looking like he's getting healthier. But you know how it can be, Ira, and this is my concern, where it starts off physical. It starts off you've got a problem with an ankle or a hand or whatever it is, and, you know, it affects your play, and all of a sudden that becomes mental, and you get over the injury, but the mental problems are still there, at least in terms of confidence. I'm beginning to get worried with Brian Angola, because for him to look this bad, knowing how good he can be and has been this year, suggests we may have something that's going to continue to here to bother him in this team, because they really can't do anything surprising in the NCAA tournament or the ACC tournament if he's not going to be a big part of what they're doing offensively. He's got to get right.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a one-game, one-off situation where you just said, okay, he sat out the first half, he came in, it was out of sorts, you could understand it. But it is the continuation of a stretch where he's just been really bad.
Yeah,
the last few games, and I think, you know, I agree with you. I do think they're getting more out of MJ Walker, and they're getting more out of
Trent Forrest has looked great.
Some of these other guys that can contribute, but Angola is the guy that he could win you a tournament game. I mean, he and Mann are the only two guys on that team, probably, unless, you know, Savoy just goes crazy from three, that, you know, you could give them the ball and they're going to make plays and could possibly win you a game. Angola may be the only guy that you really could do that, to create his own shot and really make big plays, either shooting it or getting to the rim. If he's not going to give you anything like he has these last few games, it's trouble. Now, again, like you said before, though, they do have this 1 week window, which is huge.
Real big,
and I think
big.
This week can be really big for them. And the fact that, you know, these last few games, they're not, it wouldn't shock you if they went 1-2, but it wouldn't shock you if they won 2-1. And either way, as long as they get a win in this stretch, they should be in really good shape. So from that standpoint, I think there's reason to be encouraged that he can turn it around. But I think what you'll see in this next game or so, if he continues to struggle, Leonard has wasted no time putting him on the bench and bringing some other guys in.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's going to have to. I mean, you have some guys that can contribute and help out here, and if Angola's struggling with confidence, you're going to have to do it. But I really hope he gets it back, because he seems like a great kid and a hard worker and a guy that has carried them. You want him to be able to reach his potential in these big games in the postseason. Ira, appreciate it, buddy. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Jeff. See you, man.
All right. That's Ira Schoffel, warchant.com. Yeah, Florida State now 8-7 in the ACC, 6-2 at home. Real good at home, as always. Just a couple of losses in the last 2 years. That's it. It's hard to imagine, right? 2-5 on the road, and they do have one more home game left. It's against Boston College at the end of the year. That would get you a 9th win in conference that would ensure that you finish no worse than 500 if, in fact, you do lose both the road games against NC State and Clemson. You know, it's funny because that win last night, I've been playing the little game here lately, Tom, of records and what they look like and feel like when you say them aloud. Something about getting that 20th win always. If you can get to 20, I don't care if it's 20-10 or if it's 21-9. If you get me to 20 wins in the ACC, you have enough quality wins, you get me 500 or better in the ACC, damn fine campaign.
Yeah, 20 wins with a 9-9 ACC record looks solid.
It just looks like you're a decent team. It doesn't look like you're not a juggernaut. You're not a team that's elite. You're not looking at somebody who's 22-5 and 11-3 in the conference or something.
You're not on the bubble, though.
But that's right. You're not on the bubble, and that's everything. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
And have fun doing it. Let my team of professionals go to bat for your business. Call me today, Alan Willis at 561-8400, and get your business off the bench and into the game today with WTSM 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left.
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
The Harlem Globetrotters will bring their amazing Feats of Basketball World Tour to Tallahassee at the Tucker Civic Center on March 6th. Witness amazing Globetrotter moments that become unforgettable Globetrotter memories. Prepare to be amazed by the ball-handling wizardry and experience the antics that will have kids of all ages laughing the entire time. Don't miss the world-famous Harlem Globetrotters at the Tucker Civic Center on March 6th. Great seats at the box office or tuckerciviccenter.com.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get you back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 833-4DRDELAY. That's 833, the number 4, Dr. DeLay. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 833, the number 4, Dr. DeLay.
Today is your last chance to take advantage of the President's Day sale at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop in today and get 5 quarts of Castrol High Mileage Motor Oil for $19.95, plus earn 150 O Rewards points with this purchase. Protect your engine with Castrol High Mileage Motor Oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I have known for some time now that some insurance companies are not exactly being truthful with their customers, stating such things as if you do not use one of their approved body shops, they will not guarantee the repairs, or it may cost you more out of pocket. Here at Lisa's Paint and Body Shop, the work we do is guaranteed for as long as you own your vehicle. Lisa's Paint and Body Shop, 385-2665.
License number MP46050.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. They have daily lunch specials, all under $9, happy hour drink specials, and happy hour on Friday, 2 p.m. to close. Darts are now available on West Pensacola Street. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers, plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill, 3 locations to choose from: 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
AmeriGas Propane would like to take this time to thank their valued customers for their business. At AmeriGas, serving their customers in a safe and responsible manner is their top priority. They're proud to be a part of the local community and participate in the many activities that support local charities and organizations that improve the neighborhoods where we all work, live, and play. For your propane needs, call on AmeriGas Propane. Call 877-1122.
You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
So I did want to follow up, I should say, and I said the word carry there because I'm thinking about Cam Akers. 2,000 yards was the question Andrea Edelson wrote in her recent ESPN.com college football article. 2,000 yards for Cam Akers in year number 2 in an offense that might allow for it. No.
Zero chance with this backfield that we have. Everybody else has to get hurt.
I was going to say, too many guys, right? I mean, he's really good. And, I mean, by the end of last year, you were thinking, kind of special. We just keep on keeping on here at that position. But you don't need him to rush for 2,000 yards. It'd be cool, but I don't know.
I get that injuries kind of paved the way for him in the middle portion of the season, but I thought it was possible for Cam to get to 1,000 his freshman year. I always thought you just saw him run in the spring game, Lee Sterling love right there, but it was just different. You have people bouncing off of him at 18 years old.
Which is, yeah.
And he'll only grow when it comes to vision and patience as time goes along because the speed of the game is going to slow down for him. But 2,000, that would speak to both a run-pass balance and a willingness not to go to some of the other 4- and 5-star talent that we have. That just doesn't make any sense.
And that's the big one because routes are going to be bigger than they were in the past. We're going to have more consistently, when the talent is lopsided, routes that look the way we remember them in yesteryear. Florida State will beat bad teams because of the system they're running by like 50 and 60 points. There will be opportunities to put up some huge offensive numbers against these lesser teams, right? And he could greatly benefit from that. We're going to run more plays, that's for sure. We do know that. But, yes, that's the biggest part is there's so much talent at the position, you'd be ignoring everybody else. Now, Cam ends up going for over 1,000 yards his freshman year, and that's with a talented backfield, a guy like Jaquez Patrick, and a pace played like Jimbo played. So, yeah, what will he do? 1,500 is certainly very easy to imagine.
I don't disagree. No, I think there's a good shot that he might be able to threaten Dalvin's record before it's all said and done here in Tallahassee, especially with the way the offense is going to look. But again, you got Jaquez Patrick coming back again for this year. Plus, somebody at some point is going to have to say, hey, this LeBourne kid's pretty good too. Or Zaquandre White.
I was just about to say, they've got so much talent there. That's another aspect of what I can't wait to see is that reps, a lot of reps means more opportunity for those backups, and there are some really, really talented backups. So get to see those guys, whereas before, probably wouldn't get an opportunity to see all that much of them. That has me giddy.
In a weird way, I never root for injury or anything like that, so I'm not trying to play that card. But if Cam, for some reason, became the only option, oh, my God, the numbers, that would be fun. Now it's like, whoa, what can he do?
If his
How
body
high
didn't
can
break
he
down
go?
And not, knock on wood that it wouldn't, but if it didn't, look at Oregon's offense in the running back. I mean, man.
Who knows? Maybe he passes for 2,000 yards and runs for 1,000 yards.
Maybe I'm supposed to ask the obligatory, you plan on using Cam in the Wildcat at all question?
Well, if James is your quarterback, are you going to use that potentially as a package? That's not crazy.
No, it's not crazy. We're going to ask it every year he's here. Just because he played quarterback in high school and we know he can throw a nice ball. So we're going to ask it every year he's here.
Well, especially now. Again, if James Blackman's your quarterback, might you want to have a wrinkle? Willie, what you say?
I'm interested to see James Blackman. I love the way he played late in the season. I want to see if in fact he's the kid, what that offense looks like with him and how it's called. I mean, that would be very interesting because he's not the runner. Certainly that's true. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Yeah, put me down for an 8.
The giant maples. The row of houses out of bounds on the right. The angry flock of geese who've surrounded your ball. Even the occasional groundskeeper you had no clue was there. But if you think you found every possible hazard out there, think again. The hazard you missed could actually be a killer. It's the spot on your skin, the one that could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. As most of you know, it's that time of year again. Tax refund time. What does that mean for all of us? It means that every single car dealer in town will be trying to shout the loudest for you to bring in your tax refund. Bring in your W-2s, and they will put you in a car. A used car that is nothing like what you really want. Well, guess what? Kraft Nissan's New For You program is an absolute game changer. We don't need your tax return. We don't need to see your W-2. And absolutely the best of all, we will not sell you an overpriced used car. And that is exactly why at Kraft Nissan, we call it the New For You program. We will plug your information into our system, which approves 4 out of 5 people with damage credit. And at the end of the day, you will drive away in a brand new Nissan, with or without a tax refund. You know the deal. Recently divorced? No problem. Recent bankruptcy? No problem. Credit score under 600? No problem. And it's not tied to taxes. Come see how easy it is for you to drive away in a new Kraft Nissan. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag in your car, you paid too much. Way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
Looking for new furniture or mattresses? Call Tallahassee Furniture Direct today at 545-7112. Brand new furniture and mattresses at ridiculously low prices. Mattress sets less than $200. Bedroom sets less than $400. Living room sets less than $600. And complete apartment packages 50% below retail. Tallahassee Furniture Direct, 545-7112. Quality furniture, low prices. Delivery is available. Tallahassee Furniture Direct, 545-7112.
Today is your last chance to take advantage of the President's Day sale at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop in today and get 5 quarts of Castrol High Mileage Motor Oil for $19.95, plus earn 150 O Rewards points with this purchase. Protect your engine with Castrol High Mileage Motor Oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred wants to speed up the game. This season, there will be 2 pace of play rules. First, teams will be limited to 6 mound visits without pitching changes, and there will also be a countdown clock to track the breaks between innings. Mostly positive reviews for the new NBA All-Star Game format. Team LeBron beat Team Steph 148-145. Steph Curry says all the players enjoyed it.
Take ownership of the game and understand that there's a way to do it to up the level of competitiveness and the intensity a little bit. Protect each other, obviously, avoid injuries and whatnot, but to put on a great show and have an actual game.
In the new AP College Basketball Top 25, the top 4 stay the same. Virginia at number 1, followed by Michigan State, Villanova, and Xavier. Duke moves up to number 5. Kansas is up to 8th, and the Jayhawks will host Oklahoma tonight, the game at 9 Eastern on ESPN. On ESPN2, a women's hoops top 25 triple header starting at 6 Eastern with Florida State at Duke.
You know, when something's so obvious they call it a no-brainer? Well, here's the big one. Barbasol is finally making razors. Introducing the Barbasol Ultra 6 Plus. It's got 6 ultra-thin blades for a close, comfortable shave. You can go to Barbasol.com right now and save some money. That's a no-brainer, too.
Live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. So, I haven't spent too much time on the Olympics, but I'm reminded of something about the Olympics. And really, I guess, Olympic sports in general. I don't typically think about this until it comes around and we sit down to watch the Olympics. But for lack of a better way of saying it, screw every event that is decided by judges. Can we not do that anymore? Judges. Because I don't really see a rhyme nor reason on some of it. Whether it's the big loopity-loop, we're all spinning around and landing and we all look like we're doing the exact same thing, or figure skating, which for years has been controversial. Now, I'm not a figure skating fan anyhow, so whatever. But, again, it's an Olympic event, very important to the people who participate, and we've got guys willy-nilly deciding, I didn't like the way he did his triple sow cow, or whatever that is.
What now? His what now?
Triple sow cow. That's an actual move. Or
is it?
It is. Yeah.
Oh.
So
Must not have watched that event.
Any of the flippity-doos, mixed dance, free dance, ice dance, judging you on your flips and your listen, I get it. You can discern if somebody landed it well or not. But what about when they both do? And what about if the degree of difficulty is the same and they both nail it?
Well, what is the degree of difficulty?
Well, it's the amount of, well, they do define that. It's not just kind of haphazard. They do have an idea that if you do 7 spins instead of 6, that's more difficult. It's,
Yeah, but what if you're, 5'10" versus somebody who's 6'4"? I mean, the degree of difficulty is higher for the 6'4" person to be able to do all that, right?
So the point is, get rid of anything to do with judges. We don't need that in the Olympics because it invites corruption. It does. I don't think, objectively watch an event. I might think I am, but I don't think I could because I'm from somewhere. I mean, that's just the way it works.
So should prize fights no longer exist for fear that they might go the distance?
Well, with prize fighting, and this has been a problem for a long time, right? Unless you're going to let guys kill each other in the ring, there has to be an end time. And so you're going to have a set amount of rounds, and at some point you're judging those rounds. But that's why they do space it out with judges, 3 judges, very specific criteria. But boxing is very controversial for that reason.
Yes, it is.
Very controversial for that reason. I think it's a little bit easier to discern who's landing more punches and who is landing the bigger punches than, say, what you see in free dancing.
Okay, so the half pipe is an event last week. Obviously, Shaun White wins in his final attempt, and he gets a 90 whatever. There's one rule that's already kind of stupid, and the rule is, before we even get to judges in general, at least as I understand it now, I don't watch the X Games, none of that, or World Championships.
I don't watch any of it either, right?
All right. But according to the broadcast for this event, you can't get a perfect 100 score until the final attempt, and if you're the final person in the final attempt, because there's no score higher than a perfect 100.
Yes.
So that score is like insulated from being handed out.
Why? What if I nail it the first go around?
Well, because then nobody can top that.
Sounds well, no, but somebody could equal it, and aren't they basing it on a series of my?
No, it's the best run. So you have 3 runs, and it's your best score. So you can have 2 zeros because you fall out the gate.
You just fall out of your face, and
then
it makes no difference.
And then you set the world on fire in your third one. That's the only one that matters. It's your highest score.
Okay, well, see, again, that seems kind of weird, but all right.
But that is something that took the nation, by storm last week. A lot of people were locked in live watching what Shaun White was doing.
Yeah,
but that's a judge-based event.
Right.
So what do you do? I mean, I'm going down a half pipe, and Shaun White looks different than a guy from Japan, looks different from a guy from Korea, looks different from a guy from Australia.
I don't know what you do. I think it's very difficult to have Olympic sports that rely on judges. You're inviting corruption, and I'm not sure. I saw an event. This is what kickstarted this. I saw it's a nothing event to me. I mean, it's not my thing. It's where they go. I don't. Is it free skiing, freestyle skiing? It's not. It's something where they go on the ramp and they up in the air and they land it. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
A Ukrainian guy won. He beat out a Chinese competitor, which was fine. I thought they looked exactly the same. It literally was decided by 0.5, and both admitted afterwards that I got the benefit.
Right. It's the name of the game. Yeah.
Right. They're basically admitting that I don't know if I was better than him or not. And the guy that lost was like, well, that's ridiculous.
But again, that's the thing where it gets hard here because you don't have weight classes or height classes for these types of events.
Right. I think it's really obvious more often in figure skating.
But what would be more breathtaking in this sense, or how about not breathtaking, but difficult? Let's say you have a gymnast or an acrobat, whatever those are. Mm-hmm. Wrestling is a good example, professional wrestling. There's a lot of acrobatics, before you get to some of the big superstars like Brock Lesnar, who has 3 moves and that's it. But if you have somebody the size of a Brock Lesnar who can do all the things that like a 5'8" dude can do.
And then you say that's more impressive than the 5'8" guy.
Yeah, if the Undertaker's jumping out of the ring and doing a flying somersault and landing on the concrete.
Yeah, it's absurd.
That's absurd compared to a dude who's 5'4" doing the exact same trick.
That is correct. It is much more difficult for the Undertaker to do that.
Apply to the Olympics here. You have some skiers in this situation, I'm sure, that are 5 to 6 inches taller than the other skiers. So, and then you have to judge
but
that.
Then it
might not look as pretty if the taller guy does it, but it's harder to do.
But I think aesthetics are a part of it, too. I think that's a category, basically, how it looks. I do think it matters in some sports and certainly in figure skating. And so, some of these little guys or these little girls get tossed 1,000,000 miles in the air because they're 80 pounds, and it would be much more impressive to see the dude flinging the,
I just think we need to get rid of the Bowl Alliance and then have the computers determine our champion.
I was a big fan of the BCS. I was one of the few that said BCS seems to be working just fine. Keep tweaking a little bit.
It wasn't terrible. If you did that to, once you added the human element to the equation, if you just kept that to determine your top 4, you'd have fewer problems. But you wouldn't get the entertainment value and the eyeballs on sets that college football gets.
You wouldn't get the nonsense that they have now. But I would say this, though. I do think, again, when you're talking about judges and the human element, and there's just way too much human element going on in some of these sports where, it's just how political it has always been. I don't mean now. It's always been.
The East German judge is the joke, and East Germany hasn't existed in decades.
Right. It's always funny, right? You go back to the 72 Olympics. You can name these specific moments where corruption was revealed. That has only happened in the judging sports. Time sports, it can't happen. And if I'm sprinting against you and I beat you, that's the end of that. There's no getting around this. I beat you.
It may not look as good,
It doesn't matter.
It didn't look that great.
Got to that finish line before you did. I win. It's a goal in hockey or it's not. That's the way it works. It is or is not.
100% over the line. That's what it's got to get.
Final score 4-3 is 4-3. It's not really up for interpretation. That's what happened there.
But Kenny Albert wants you to know that shots were 36-20 for the team that lost, so they should have won.
Now, listen, it doesn't take away, I don't think, my enjoyment of watching these people be able to do things I can't fathom doing. I mean, watching the half pipe and stuff like that, I think, well, that's ridiculous. I mean, that is breathtaking. Literally, these people are risking their lives. It's amazing what they can do. I just hate that you watch that for hours on end, and then you're like, I really don't know what was any better about what that guy did than that guy or that girl. And I don't think these judges do either.
No, well, and okay, this is fun because this is something I brought up last week. Okay, so Shaun White goes last, and the drama of going last for Shaun White, I think, helps lend itself towards, a higher score because if he pulls off what he does, the pressure is greater in that moment. And in a way, the judges already tell you that the pressure is part of the act because they can't give the 100 score right away.
I like that you called it the act. And
right.
That is the problem.
But when he goes crazy and tosses his helmet and stuff,
he lands and I saw him stick
which
it,
he did in his first run, he tossed the helmet into the stands and stuff. That adds to the pageantry of the moment. It feels like what he just accomplished was bigger
greater
because he's selling it. He's selling it.
Now I would submit that certainly judges, I would like to think, are looking at the degree of difficulty and the execution of whatever the routine was. They see the routine on the list. They've got the sheet of paper. He's going to be, otherwise you could just get up there and do whatever the hell. So they know what you're attempting to do, how that's supposed to be executed, and whether or not it is done well or not.
Certainly in figure skating they have that. I think they do in the half pipe.
You would have to, because like those names, the names of the executed moves, they all have a name. We always hear them when we laugh at the announcers. They're like, oh, he
it's like the
up.
chicken salad.
Right.
It's literally. No, that's a move.
That's what I mean.
Chicken salad.
They all have a name.
Yeah.
My guess is that people within that sport certainly know what that is, how it's done, and whether or not he executed it well or not.
Right, but in the program for figure skating, they say, okay, here comes the triple axel. They have the itinerary.
Yeah, it's coming.
They don't know it on the when they did the half pipe.
Do we know they don't know it?
Well, they present that they don't know it.
Because the
broadcasters, to be specific, the broadcasters present that they don't know.
I would think the judges.
They may.
Because otherwise.
I don't care to know the answer to that.
Anyhow, I'm just saying we need to really take a good long look at any of the Olympic sports that are involving judges as deciding gold medals or not. Because I've seen a couple people just 0.2, like.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Larry seems to think otherwise, but that seems really whimsical.
Sure. Well, then DJ Khaled gives you a 9 in the dunk contest. I'm like, what the hell, man?
What are we doing?
He gives you 10s for everything.
This is ridiculous. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. As most of you know, it's that time of year again. Tax refund time. What does that mean for all of us? It means that every single car dealer in town will be trying to shout the loudest for you to bring in your tax refund. Bring in your W-2s, and they will put you in a car, a used car that is nothing like what you really want. Well, guess what? Kraft Nissan's New For You program is an absolute game changer. We don't need your tax return. We don't need to see your W-2. And absolutely the best of all, we will not sell you an overpriced used car. And that is exactly why at Kraft Nissan, we call it the New For You program. We will plug your information into our system, which approves 4 out of 5 people with damage credit, and at the end of the day, you will drive away in a brand new Nissan, with or without a tax refund. You know the deal. Recently divorced? No problem. Recent bankruptcy? No problem. Credit score under 600? No problem. And it's not tied to taxes. Come see how easy it is for you to drive away in a new Kraft Nissan. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag in your car, you paid too much, way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get you back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 833-4-DRDELAY. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay.
Today is your last chance to take advantage of the President's Day sale at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop in today and get 5 quarts of Castrol High Mileage Motor Oil for $19.95, plus earn 150 O Rewards points with this purchase. Protect your engine with Castrol High Mileage Motor Oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Woohoo! Banditos!
Huh? Where?
Banditos Burritos, baby.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
We're going to be this way all year long, all off season long. Every time that this team gets together, we're going to want to talk about the fact that they got together. But it's happening, right? You saw Ira's story today. We talked about it earlier in the hour. They just get out there, and it's called The Chase. I cracked up because here's the thing. The football team, that is, folks, if you don't know, they're working out hard. This is where they get after it. This is where unity is built. This is when it happens now. In the wee morning hours, they get together, and it's time to get it on. And there's the quote. And it's, coaches, you got to give these kinds of quotes. It's kind of a roll your eyes sort of thing. We call our morning workout the chase to greatness. We have a saying within our program that we're going to chase greatness and catch excellence along the way. And that's the Jimbo Fisher quote about aspiring to be perfect and along the way.
Oh yeah, same thing, just repackaged.
Yeah.
That's from the his address to the signing day. Attendees.
But it is exciting to see them collectively as a group out there working out it, because it's all new and we are waiting to see the unveiling of what this staff produces and what this team looks like, how they play, everything about it. And because just by virtue of the change, we're going to be this way, I think, on a daily basis. It's going to get old. It already kind of is. It's, I want something substantial, and I can't have it. And that's just the way it works. There's nothing you can do about that. So instead, we get, they're jogging. And I get it. That's part of it. It's just more difficult this time around than it's been at any point in recent memory. Maybe since Jimbo's first year as head coach. Maybe. And even then, I felt like we knew what we were transitioning into to some degree. This is completely new. And so any little nugget, I'm that guy that I make fun of on the boards. This morning, I get up early, get my kids ready for school, get on the computer to start show prep and sipping my coffee, Tom, and I see that as one of the first things that I read, and I go, ooh. And then I read the story, and I read a version of that story on all the sites that cover Florida State football, and I go, all right, they didn't say anything, but I'm reading it.
That's right.
You got me. I clicked on that one, then I clicked on that one, then I clicked on that one.
There's 2 photos of them practicing under the lights, and it's not nighttime, baby. It's early in the morning.
They're up doing their things. The chasing, it begins now, says Coach Greg Fry. Rise and shine, he said. All right, I have risen and I am shining. I was excited as could be. I poured another cup of coffee. It's ridiculous. I made fun of myself minutes later. I was downright giddy. It's a good thing to love football that much sometimes. Maybe when you host a show it is. I did. I kind of went, that's ridiculous. There's a picture of Willie Taggart staring off in the distance wearing a sweatsuit. And I went, ooh, there he is.
Boy, it feels right this time, doesn't it?
I was asked about it over the weekend, and so we talked about the shift in college. Well, actually, the subject was this. The subject on ESPNU was coaching changes in college football. And Andy brought it up. I was co-hosting with him, Andy Staples. I was co-hosting with him. He said he wanted to talk to me because, hey, I cover Florida State, and I'm here, and this is one of the coaching changes. Obviously, the guy that left here is part of the coaching changes. But we went through all of them. We went Mullen, we were talking about the state. We were talking about how things have changed and what are reasonable expectations and what aren't. And he was saying, his question to me was basically, can you name the guy you think is going to have the biggest impact or make the biggest splash in year one? And this is something I've thought about because it is a fun subject. This is the stuff that you kick around as a college football fan. And it could be Willie Taggart, but he has to win game one. He has to win the Virginia Tech game because then he's set up to win a series of games before you go on the road to face Louisville and Miami in back-to-back games. So you would be, 4-0 or something like that before you get to that. But you have to beat Virginia Tech. So what you want to do when you're making a decision about that is who's got the easiest road to start? Who can start by virtue of schedule 5-0, 6-0? Is it Scott Frost at Nebraska? Is it, and it's not, is it, whomever you want to look at? You could bring up UCLA, but week 2, UCLA plays Oklahoma on the road in Norman. Good luck with that.
Right, and Jimbo has Clemson and Alabama.
That's right.
Early in the schedule.
I think the answer is Florida. I think Mullen can start out pretty healthy.
They play the Sisters of the Poor again on top of that SEC schedule, which, Georgia, there's a loss, but still.
Yeah, well, we think – let me pull this up. Actually.
The one thing I'd offer, though, about Scott Frost is I don't think they have to win big early. I just think they have to win. They have to have a mega upset, just one. One where you go, whoa, Nebraska beat,
there it is. Yeah.
Michigan or Michigan State, whoever they have on their
Certainly
schedule.
Wouldn't be a big upset to beat Michigan.
For them, it would be at this point. Something where they can go, oh, that's progress. If he's capable of beating this team and he's punching above his weight class, and I don't know who they're paired with on the other side of the Big Ten schedule this year. I'm not that much of a degenerate that I've looked at Nebraska's 2018 football schedule just yet. So
I would have
forgive me on that note.
It would have been funny if you had.
But
Florida, let me start with Florida for a second. Charleston, Southern Kentucky, Colorado State, Gainesville. Those are all wins, okay?
Boy, there's September scheduling, The one time they ventured out and they played Michigan, they got their ass handed to them. Maybe they'll play a non-conference opener again sometime in the next 20 years.
They do play Tennessee September 22nd in Knoxville. But I don't know what Tennessee is, and that's a winnable game. Then you play Dan Mullen's old team, Mississippi State, at the end of September in Starkville. So you have back-to-back roadies.
That's interesting. They'll put that in prime time.
Yeah, and it's back-to-back roadies before getting home against LSU in Gainesville. I don't think this is going to be a great year for LSU. But I'm venturing a guess here that that's probably – I think he can make a pretty big splash early, especially if you're able to beat Tennessee. Perceptions
at least appear that way. Like you're talking about early season perceptions. It's not necessarily what you're going to be talking about in November.
Right. No. Yeah, I'm just talking about what we think is possible for the newest coaches. By the way, I brought Scott Frost up. You commented on it. They play Akron, Colorado, Troy before they go to Michigan in Ann Arbor. You're right. If they were to knock off Michigan in Ann Arbor, then, yeah, maybe you would start to say, well, look at Nebraska. At the end of the year, it's at Ohio State, and they're at Iowa at Kinnick Stadium late. Michigan State between that. They've got some landmines there.
I'm just looking at Florida's schedule right now, and yeah, this is what they usually do. You're right: Charleston, Southern Kentucky, Colorado State, Tennessee. Then they have that really tough back-to-back stretch: Mississippi State and LSU. Ooh, boy.
Which won't be, but Mississippi State hasn't been terrible, and I don't think that they'll fall off that rapidly with Dan leaving.
Well, the talk around Starkville, and I'm saying that tongue-in-cheek, it actually will be kind of difficult for Florida. But, no, it will be. I mean, Mississippi State on the road, and then you come back and you play LSU, and that's become this
thing.
Yes, this thing, and it doesn't matter that Dan Mullen's a new coach. That's not a McElwain-specific problem that those two universities have with each other. That's just now a problem that they do in general have with each other. That's a tough 2-week stretch. But I just look at this schedule every year and I go, save for last year where they opened with Michigan. There's nothing. There's never anything. Before they play us, they hardly ever play anybody. In September, they hardly ever play anybody. And there's like these 2 or 3 games they play a season where you go, well, they're going to lose those. So they're not going to ascend to the heights they're supposed to, but they may be the SEC East representative. At least that's not the case anymore with Georgia.
Better storyline, though, is that the other team we were talking about, and you've referenced him in part because you talked about Florida's opening opponent this past year, is Harbaugh better put together some wins, my man. The hell are we doing at Michigan? Not winning divisions, not winning Big Ten titles, and not beating our rivals.
You're right. It is the better topic instead of going on and on about Florida. But I would agree that this is the what the hell are we doing here, man, year for Michigan. Because he's the golden boy, it hasn't happened yet because he's the favorite son.
How many years do you get before the yet is removed? At some point, you just say, he hasn't done it. It's been 5 years. What are we doing?
Right. No, it's this year now.
Right.
He will be on the hot seat into next year. I don't think they're coming for his head by the end of this season if he goes 8-4 or something like that.
But here's your problem. They open with Notre Dame, at Notre Dame. That's who they open with this year at Michigan. At Notre Dame, Saturday, September 1st. Then they get Western Michigan, SMU. But then they're hosting Nebraska at Northwestern. By the way, Northwestern won 10 games last year, lest we forget. 10. Northwestern, 10 games. They're at Northwestern, home to Maryland, home to Wisconsin, who probably beat their ass, at Michigan State. Then it's Penn State late. They still got Ohio State at the end of the year. You could sprinkle in 3 or 4 losses here.
Yeah. What's the over-under on their win total? 8?
I haven't looked it up
probably
yet.
The Vegas
It's
over-under.
probably out there. Yeah.
You know what's beautiful, though, is you mentioned Saturday, September 1st, and they're playing Michigan. Or, sorry, they're playing Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Michigan and Notre Dame are playing each other. You know how excited this town's going to be on Saturday, September the 1st? How energized. It's Labor Day weekend. Everybody's going to be here. People are going to be so into that game because they're just ready to watch us and the Hokies on a Monday night.
You're damn right.
That's going to be an awesome atmosphere anywhere in town that you watch that game.
It's going to be incredible, and that's why this unimaginably long off season began this morning when I pulled up my computer and saw that they were jogging in place in sweats and went, all right, final hour forthcoming, stay with.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it, they got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Driving every day from the AmeriGas studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred wants to speed up the game. This season, there will be 2 new pace of play rules. First, teams will be limited to 6 mound visits without pitching changes, and there will also be a countdown clock to track the breaks between innings. Mostly positive reviews for the new NBA All-Star Game format. Team LeBron beat Team Steph 148-145. Steph Curry says all the players enjoyed it.
Take ownership of the game and understand that there's a way to do it to up the level of competitiveness and the intensity a little bit, protect each other, obviously, avoid injuries and whatnot, but to put on a great show and have an actual game.
In the new AP College Basketball Top 25, the top 4 stay the same. Virginia at number 1, followed by Michigan State, Villanova, and Xavier. Duke moves up to number 5. Kansas is up to 8th, and the Jayhawks will host Oklahoma tonight, the game at 9 Eastern on ESPN. On ESPN2, a women's hoops top 25 triple header starting at 6 Eastern with Florida State at Duke.
You know when something's so obvious they call it a no-brainer? Well, here's the big one. Barbasol is finally making razors. Introducing the Barbasol Ultra 6 Plus. It's got 6 ultra-thin blades for a close, comfortable shave. You can go to Barbasol.com right now and save some money. That's a no-brainer, too.
Live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. Hey, if you do, it happens. I don't think most people are missing things today. It's President's Day. I was disturbed when I found out a number of people have the day off today.
Many do.
Many do. Yeah,
I heard, was it Spain and Izzy or Spain and Fitz were on it from 10 to 1 today?
Buddy.
Well, that means that Dan and Stugatz weren't working.
No, I know that, and I'm not judging the fact that they weren't working or that anybody else takes a day off. I mean, we know the deal there in broadcasting, but it's a weird world we live in where that's the replacement. Because, my goodness gracious, there hasn't been worse radio. Maybe ever. It's impossible. Just an aside. Online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. You can email the show if you like, JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. On Twitter, it's at J Cameron Show. WTSM app good for mobile devices. Yeah, that doesn't matter. If you got the app, you're good to go with both the iPhone and the app for the Android. Yeah, all that
there
good
it
stuff.
is. Yeah.
Knowles won the basketball game yesterday. That was kind of like one of those, woo. Are we going to make a point at the expense of a season? Because Leonard choosing to sit 2 vital members of the basketball team to start the game for a half, I'll give him this, man. He's unwavering, and to me, it's very, very, very impressive. He's done it in bigger games, and he's done it with guys that when Von Wafer got suspended for the road game against North Carolina, we had no other people that were capable of scoring baskets. And I remember thinking, well, so you've decided losing by 50 today is just kind of what's going to happen. And yes, that was what was going to happen. He didn't care. So he's nothing if not wildly consistent in regards to discipline, if in fact it was discipline. I hear it was. I haven't followed up on that story, but.
Well, I mean, he could have used the injury excuse given what you've been talking about the last couple of weeks.
And they've got injuries, yeah.
But if you're going to say the words minor indiscretion, then that does, imply, and that's certainly what he said at the post game.
Yeah, and so listen, I mean, here's the thing about Ham. He said it on this show. He's told everybody how it is that he decides, and he says, in fact, that it's not a decision that he has to make. He has a firm set of rules that all the players are aware of before the start of any career at Florida State. When you're recruited and you come to Florida State and decide this is where you want to play basketball, there is at some point, I would imagine very early in the process, a sit down and here's what you will do, here's what you will not do, and if you violate these rules, these are the consequences. It's mapped out. Now you decide. And then there is no discussion. This is not a negotiation. And it can be relatively small. It could be being late to class, a meeting, a curfew. It could be anything. If you don't show up on time or you don't do the things that have been asked of you, here is the specific punishment. We don't have to get all into a heated affair here in the office. You yelling at me yelling at you. This is really not a thing. This is what you did. This is the punishment. I'll see you out there on the court.
Yeah, and the interesting thing was yesterday he kind of got pushed on it in the postgame about the minor indiscretion terminology. It was circled back and asked again, and he said, I'm not going to go into it any further. And that's the way it's always been with that program.
It's admirable, man. It really is. Those kids go to class, they graduate, they don't get in trouble. Look, I sound like an old fuddy-duddy with that nonsense, but it's true. They don't. And they're good kids, and those kids all come here, and he cares deeply about them. But the rules are the rules. Either you follow them or you don't. And it's whether it's best players or his worst players.
Oh, there have been times. There was I think it was a 2 out of 3 year stretch there where one of your best players, Ian Miller was one example.
Yeah, sitting his ass.
They're in street clothes
at a time.
Until the new semester. And you're like, well, good Lord.
Yeah, we could use this guy.
And you'd ask Leonard about it, and it would be like the player didn't exist. He would say, well, he'll be available at some point down the road, and then he'd continue on.
Yeah, the player's not available.
He's not. And that's just it. And even if you followed up, he said, I'm not talking about it anymore. That's just that's how it is. And it's amazing. It's quite a lesson to some coaches, perhaps some coaches that used to be here. Sometimes 2 words will do instead of 200.
That's correct.
If you just stop and say, not available.
We're done here. There's nothing else to say.
And you stop, and then you look at the reporter.
Yeah.
Someone else has to ask a question.
Yes, that's true.
You take command of the room back. That's how you intimidate a room, and that's how you lay down whatever law you want to lay down instead of giving me this hemming and hawing response.
Well, and
Leonard's
it's also,
always done that.
Yeah, and it's just such that it is a clearly, I always say on this show, define our terms. That there you are. We have defined our terms, both for me and you as coach and media member, and also my team and the players. Everybody here knows the deal, so we'll just move along. Now, do you have another question that doesn't involve this, which is clear cut?
Coach, was there a reason for the first half not available? Why? Minor indiscretion. Would you like to go more in depth?
They're not available.
No, they're not available.
23 to 8 run late is what ends up putting this thing away. And admittedly, we were all a little squirmish. Let me tell you something. They didn't lose this game. And in fact, at the end of the day, they didn't really come close to losing this game. 88 to 75 is a sound beating. There were interesting moments in this game where you wondered whether or not the unthinkable could have happened. Are they going to get themselves put in a position to where the weight of what they must do, and really a season lost long ago for Pitt being the other side of that, sets up a situation where one team is going to play carefree, because what does Pitt have to lose? There is nothing for them to lose. Their season is an embarrassment in the annals of Pitt history. Florida State's playing for something, and they're at home. And the longer a game goes like that, in which it's close or tied, or a team that is that big an underdog has the lead, the more the pressure mounts. That's why the old adage is you step on their neck. You end it as soon as it begins, and you let them know, it ain't happening tonight. You may upset somebody else. It ain't here, and it ain't now. We're going to take care of business. But when you suspend 2 players of the caliber of Man and Angola, and those guys don't get to start the game, and then you have a game that's going the way this one did, where Pitt, uncharacteristically, statistically speaking, is hitting everything under the sun from beyond the arc. When they don't do that at any point this year, you find yourself in a very uncomfortable position. And I did begin to get concerned that the longer that went on, the more likely the chance that you begin to see our players show the wares of that and perform below standard. Luckily, okay, some big threes, some big moments, Savoy shot, all of that really kind of bails you out. You end up winning the basketball game, and this is just another in the long list of games in a season, one that you were supposed to win, one that you did win, and now you're 19-8. Now you're ranked. You're 8-7 in the ACC, and you have done what you are supposed to do. They are on the precipice of making the tournament yet again for a second consecutive year, and that's what the stated goal was this year. They are also a flawed team, and games like this reveal that. And I'm not even talking about the first half. I'm talking about their inability to move laterally on defense and get in front of people. Their lack of a real inside presence, consistency there is lacking, to say the least. They don't have that game, the post game, that is. So that's okay. It's all right to point out their flaws. A lot of you send me those emails, and you go to the games and you express your frustration over that. This wasn't we didn't look at this team and say this is a Sweet 16 team. I said I thought they were better than people believed they would be, which is to say I thought they'd make the NCAA tournament. They're on pace to do that. it will be a good year if they do that. Are my expectations high once they enter the tournament? No. Do I think it's fascinating, if only because, A, the tournament is fascinating, B, it's a year where there are no great teams, so in theory you could find your way in a Sweet 16 and not even be that great a basketball team? Sure. But, we'll let it play out. Just do what you need to do to get there.
Yeah, if we lost this game, I would have laughed. Because you have a team that's 290 whatever in the country hitting 10 threes in the first half.
Yeah, I wouldn't have laughed at all. We would have been devastated. I know what you're saying.
But,
it was absurd.
All right, if a team's around 300th and shooting from beyond the arc and everybody's hitting one, like everybody on that team has at least one of them.
10 of 17 in the first half from beyond
the arc. 39 points and 30 of them are from three.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And they need to hit another 6 to 10 of them in the second half in order to win the game. So if you're going to hit 16 to 23s, we're still in that game if they do. But if you're going to do what it takes and hit 16 to 23s, whether we leave you open or not, when you're 290th in the country in hitting threes, man, that's just absurd. And, of course, it didn't happen. We end up pulling away. We didn't cover because the number was something like 20. And
22.
Think about that. They had to hit 10 threes in the first half for Florida State not to cover. That's how the game was handicapped, and it was handicapped correctly. But the important thing is, where do we stand right now? And it's usually between the 8 or 9 seed line in most brackets. So it looks like we're going to end up somewhere between 7 and 10, depending upon where we go from here to the end of the ACC regular season. And that means you're going to be paired with a 1 or a 2 seed if you're lucky enough to get out of the first round of the tournament.
Yeah, no, listen.
We kind of know our destination now.
Yeah, no, this is, again, I get excited about this because I'm really pleased with the way the season has gone for a group that had to overcome the loss of their 3 best scorers, and 2 of those to the NBA. I've said this 100 times. I keep saying it, but it's a friendly reminder to everybody. When you lose 2 NBA guys and another professional basketball player who was experienced and could get you a bucket when you needed one, understandably, expectations had lowered to a point where I had to step in, at least I thought I did on the show, and say, well, wait a minute now, guys. There's still some talent here. They're not going to finish last. We had people talking about them finishing somewhere in the bottom third at least, and I'm going, well, there's still some talent here. Yes, you're right to point out the loss of points from this team, and overcoming that's going to be a challenge, but I think we're going to be an interesting team, and we've been that. We're an interesting team. We're over 500 in the ACC. We're 25th in the country. We got 19 wins. I think we're going to the NCAA tournament. This has been a rousing success. I guess the point of saying all of that is to say this. Everything else is gravy. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Put put you in a car, a used car that is nothing like what you really want. Well, guess what? Kraft Nissan's New For You program is an absolute game changer. We don't need your tax return. We don't need to see your W-2. And absolutely the best of all, we will not sell you an overpriced used car. And that is exactly why at Kraft Nissan, we call it the New For You program. We will plug your information into our system, which approves 4 out of 5 people with damage credit. And at the end of the day, you will drive away in a brand new Nissan, with or without a tax refund. You know the deal. Recently divorced? No problem. Recent bankruptcy? No problem. Credit score under 600? No problem. And it's not tied to taxes. Come see how easy it is for you to drive away in a new Kraft Nissan. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag in your car, you paid too much. Way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
Are you ready to experience an awesome fishing expedition? Sea Quarters Marina is home to several great charter services. All charters are customized based upon the types of fishing opportunities available and the type of fishing the customer requests. The Northwest Gulf Coast offers a variety of different angling adventures thanks to unspoiled back county islands and crystal clear flats. For more information regarding charters, call Sea Quarters Marina at 697-8400 or online at seaquartersmarina.com.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get you back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 833-4-DRDELAY. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay.
Today is your last chance to take advantage of the President's Day sale at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop in today and get 5 quarts of Castrol High Mileage Motor Oil for $19.95, plus earn 150 O Rewards points with this purchase. Protect your engine with Castrol High Mileage Motor Oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Maybe people listen to it right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. I don't know. Hopefully they did. And I will say something that I didn't think I'd be able to say, but as I was driving, I heard it right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, and that was NASCAR's Daytona 500 coverage that we brought to you here over the airwaves. They do an exceptional job of making auto racing sound interesting when it's not at all.
They do. It's actually, yes, it's almost, you know, if you came into this world or beamed down from space, and the first exposure you had to racing was radio, and you never knew that there was television available.
Yeah, you'd go, this is unbelievable.
Yes, you would.
I mean, think of how boring NASCAR is in auto racing in general. I mean, it's hard to find things that are more boring than that nonsense. And when you listen to it, you'd think it's the greatest thing you've ever heard. I mean, I'm locked into that sucker going, man, this is awesome, even though it's not at all.
The finish yesterday was exciting, but yeah,
you
there's
could have
no
spent
doubt.
hours of that time listening to them go around in a circle.
Yeah.
Or you could have waited to the last 5 minutes and listened to them screaming about all the accidents.
They're screaming. Yeah,
well, that's great. That last 5 minutes was what I caught. I went, how about this?
Well, that's Motor Racing Network, MRN's coverage. They did do a good job.
They do. As somebody who hates NASCAR and auto racing in general, to have tuned in just to hear how our coverage sounded, because I care about us and not NASCAR, I listened and I thought, these guys, you would think this is interesting. My goodness, I am proud of you. Turn to two, and then they go over and the other guy's yelling, yeah,
right.
And then the other guy comes in and they just click, 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 click. It's great.
Yeah, the way it's basically shout for 30 seconds and then toss it to Phil, who's in Tower 2, and then Phil shout for 30 seconds and toss it to Walt, who's in Tower 3.
But they pass it off so well because the other talking point will work. Yeah, it's like when they're on each part of the track, you got somebody telling you something, but it's always interesting when the one guy's like, he can't get a draft, and then the next guy goes in and he's like, oh, he's going underneath, and then the next guy goes, no, he's gone on top. Oh, they're bumping. And then it's just, and this is amazing. I was like, well, I don't know who's leading this race, but there is crazy stuff going on between the bumping and the moving.
And the shaking.
Yeah.
While we're at it.
With the draft.
Yeah, with the draft and such. I was programming it from because this is the first time we've ever had this, broadcast network on our airwaves.
They do a good job with it.
They do. So I was programming it from Lake Buena Vista, Florida, because I was in Disney this weekend.
Beautiful Lake Buena Vista, Florida.
The weather was outstanding this weekend. There's no two ways about it. But their pregame for this thing, their pre-race show, and of course now it's Daytona. Like NASCAR is so backwards in the sense that the biggest race of the year is the first one.
Start the whole thing off.
It's like, all right, the chase doesn't even matter compared to Daytona, at least the way they present it. But this damn thing, I mean, it looked like, if you could envision it in your mind, this pre-race show was just like a driver's jacket or the car itself. I mean, they were sold to the hilt. It was sold to the hilt. And the thing that I really appreciate about NASCAR,
they don't hide. They don't care. We are sellouts here at NASCAR.
I mean, think about it this way. All right, those headlights in the car aren't real. Those are painted on. So basically, you just have this moving 200-mile-an-hour billboard that's being chased by, 50 other
billboards.
200-mile-an-hour moving billboards. And what they do during the broadcast, they have this disagreement, and it must be what happens if you're a sponsor of any NASCAR team or whatever, Hendrick Motorsports or whatever it is, right? That if you're a sponsor, you just get mentioned as though you're just a normal word or term for racing, because they say, well, here comes Casey whatever in the Jimmy John's Ford.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they don't just say in the number 4 car.
But the broadcast team would.
Yeah.
That would be like a golf broadcaster saying, here's Brooks Koepka on the Nike bag at hole number 2 with his second shot, and that's a Nike 4-iron. That's a Nike Vapor, 8-iron.
Yeah, no, they do it all the time.
And they just do it without even thinking twice.
Seamlessly, it's incredible.
I mean, to keep all those things square, the memorization that's necessary.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups comes around number 11. Yeah.
It's not about Brooks Koepka. It's about Nike Brooks Koepka.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Nike Brooks Koepka with a birdie putt here on number 3. I mean, Tiger Woods has a Monster Energy bag now, and he's got a Bridgestone ball. Monster Energy, Bridgestone, Tiger Woods with a putt here for birdie on number 6.
It would get annoying.
Right.
Yeah. No, it does. But they do a good job.
But they sell it, and they don't look down. So you don't even think about it. You go, I just got sold 4 freaking things.
They just keep on moving. Anyhow, that's not what I was going to bring up. I just wanted to commend the people that made a terribly boring sport or driving contest sound interesting, which is what they did on our airwaves. What is interesting, and it is a sport and awfully fun to watch, is this year's version of college basketball. And did you watch Michigan State come back from down 27 points to win the game that they did? And moreover, did you also see Bob Huggins get thrown out, rightfully so, as he did against Kansas after his team blew a double-digit lead? By the way, third straight time West Virginia's had a double-digit lead against Kansas, only to lose the game. So there's mounting frustration there. But I saw something. For all of the times that Florida State has been on the wrong end of some controversial calls and games that we thought, really odd that Carolina got that call in that situation, or Duke, or whomever it is. I can only imagine how West Virginia fans feel. I know how Bob Huggins feels when, at the end of that game, closely contested as it was, they took a look at the stat sheet and realized that they were outshot on the charity stripe 35-2. 35-2 is a bend over. I hope you're limber moment from these officials. Are you kidding me? Kansas went to the free throw line to shoot 35 free throws. West Virginia shot 2.
Bend over.
2.
Bend over.
Now, the working Tom Lang theory about college basketball officiating is that they are always well aware of a lopsided discrepancy in free throw shooting. That if, by chance, we get well into a game and somebody's had the better of it in the way of the calls, that they'll find a way to equal it out. A bunch of 50-50 calls will suddenly go the way of the team that has disproportionately not been able to shoot free throws.
Yeah, they'll backdoor free throw attempts towards the end, even if the margin might be too much at that point.
Right.
But that way, when you look at the box, if you didn't watch the game, you go like,
okay, they only shot 6 more than they
just
did.
didn't play well enough.
Yeah,
you know?
Right. Like, and I don't completely disagree with that. I don't think they actively do that. I don't think, for example, they're aware at the 10-minute mark of the second half that Team A has shot 28 free throws and Team B has shot 10. But what I do think happens is that it's human nature. Certainly you'd be on some level conscious of the fact that one team has shot more free throws, but also you're hearing it from the coach whose team is not getting to the line.
No, that's true, but it's a two-part working theory, and I think it applies to about 80% of basketball games. Certainly not this one. But let's just say that you're at the 12-25 mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Florida State's already in the bonus. But Georgia Tech, they've only been fouled twice. Florida State's been assessed 2 team fouls. I think a hand check on Florida State's coming. I think it's more
about
likely.
to happen, yeah.
Or a foul away from the ball.
Some sort of pithy thing, yeah. I agree.
They're like, oh, no. You can't hold on to his jersey like that, and nothing ever happened. But I think they're looking for something to get that disparity somewhere closer than 8-2 at that point.
I think officials would probably tell you they just simply don't do that because it would speak to the integrity of the game. And it would be a violation of such. Either a foul's a foul or it's not a foul, and you can't make up a foul if you didn't see a foul. But I agree with you. I think that they are probably, just because of human nature, inclined to try to even things out. But no such effort occurred here, clearly. 35-2.
Bend over.
For the dude. That is appalling.
Bend over.
He got thrown out of the game at the end when it became apparent they were going to lose. And he got his money's worth because he didn't even have a technical prior to that. So he had to get a technical and get another one in order to get thrown out. So as he kind of took to the court to plead his case about yet another foul call against West Virginia and one that had not been given to him on the other end of the floor on the previous possession, he decided to go all in, and he wasn't going to leave until he was tossed, and he was. Now, after the game, he was measured. He was calm. He said, look, it's ridiculous. Officials don't have to come in here and answer for that. You're going to talk to kids who aren't paid about why they didn't shoot or what went wrong in the first half, and how it is they let this one get away. You're going to ask everybody involved in this game, but we can't talk to them about why it is there was a 35-2 discrepancy in free throws.
Bend over.
I will tell you this, and I don't really care about either one of those teams. That's a huge win for Kansas, especially because, as it were, Baylor ended up upsetting Texas Tech, which now Kansas gets back into first place and a tie for first place, which they're trying to win the Big 12 for the 14th consecutive year. It's incredible. Regular season title. So there were a lot of things going on this weekend in college basketball, a lot of great things going on this weekend in college basketball, just in terms of the magnitude of the games. And that was a big one. The West Virginia-Kansas game was a big one. Kansas got to shoot 35 free throws, and West Virginia shot 2. I did laugh because I'm not involved. I can laugh, but can you imagine if we went to a Florida State basketball game and we're the lesser of the two teams and we're fighting our ass off and we have a lead over Carolina or Duke, and one of those two schools, because that's what Kansas is, goes to the free throw line 35 times to our 2? Somebody would get assaulted.
I think by the time you got to about 20-2, you left or just started laughing and not really paying attention and being locked in.
I would never
At some point, it gets absurd, but it's before 35-2 that it got absurd.
Well, you noted it, and we've talked about it like that. Basketball elicits emotion. You get angry when things aren't going well, and there's a certain ineptitude you feel about you're not able to do anything about it, and fans get so mad at the block charge call, for example. No call it fires a fan base up better than a block charge call because it's such a 50-50 call half the time.
Right.
So whenever you don't get it, you're like, oh, it's bull. Immediately, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if it was 35-2.
No, I get mad about block charge if it's 6-6 is the foul situation, and C.J. Walker's got 2 feet firmly planted and he gets run over, and they're like, block.
Well, they make a spectacle of it too.
Yes,
35-2, and let that sink in.
Yeah, if the officials cared about just making the right call, they wouldn't dance all over the court. So we can dismiss that notion that they don't let human nature creep into what they do.
And I told you about what happened in that game against Virginia with my man. Not even able to keep up with the action.
But there's we were watching, yeah. And in the moment, you said some interesting things too.
Screw that guy.
That was the PG version of what you.
I'm still mad at him. If I see him, I'm going to say something to him. He's ridiculous.
There's like a trigger though that happens in a situation like that. I've been there because we played the Dukes and the world before and gotten screwed to the point where officials got suspended.
Yeah, but not 35-2.
But you knew what the drill was.
Right.
Like,
I see what we're doing here.
I see what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point of absurd that either you're going to do something illegal or this little thing, this overheat trigger, You know, it's like, the defense is here. Okay, we're going to shut down and just start laughing, and maybe we'll leave. Maybe we'll change the channel.
Yeah, we'll do something, yeah.
We're going to do something because I'm not going to get arrested for how angry I am over a basketball
right.
game.
Well, no, but I'm saying I can't believe Huggins. I mean, he's a volatile guy. And man, if I'm coaching, you grow to love your kids. And if they're battling for you against a team that has more talent than you, and you've led this whole game, in spite of that foul differential, they led the majority of the game. It got away late.
Yeah.
Man, you're almost in tears. You're so angry because you care deeply.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
He should have just embraced the absurd and just taken off his shirts and wiped the floor with his sweaty belly and just crawled across the logo.
Across the midcourt logo.
It's just like,
as the game's going on.
You hear like,
as the game's going on, he's just centipeding
and
across
he's forcing
the floor.
a ball boy to just mop it up.
Bob Huggins is doing the centipede shirtless at midcourt in the game. This is insane.
Somehow, I kind of understand why he's doing it.
He's just decided, I guess there are no rules.
If this is where we're
going. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Blountstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Check the number on your sticker, then check your odometer. Is it time? There are 19 Tallahassee area Super Lube locations, which means there's one close to you right now. No appointments, and you're in and out in no time. You could do this today. Super Lube, for better gas mileage and a longer lasting engine.
How I love to Super Lube my car, yes sir.
And now, Jeff and Eddie wasting time when they're supposed to be recording a commercial.
What were we drinking? It was tall. I just remember there was a lot of it.
And it was cold, and it was
so hot outside.
Man.
It was crazy.
I couldn't even breathe.
Truck. Then the truck came up with the dude.
Oh, that guy.
Food was good. Food was good.
Yeah, the food's always good.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Did you know that propane-powered clothes dryers outperform electric models in energy efficiency, drying time, and garment protection? So dry your clothes more efficiently with propane. Propane water heaters give you more hot water at a more affordable price. Compared to electric, energy-efficient propane water heaters can reduce your energy costs significantly. For more information, call AmeriGas Propane here in Tallahassee at 877-1122.
At Advance Auto Parts, we offer you the quality parts you want and knowledge you need, and we're always looking for ways to help you save. Right now at Advance, premium oil brands like Castrol, Mobil, Valvoline, and Pennzoil are all on sale. Choose 5 quarts and an oil filter starting as low as $23.99 for your oil change. Only at Advance or participating CarQuest Auto Parts stores. Advance Auto Parts, where oil is priced like it should be. See store for details. Limit 5 oil change specials per customer. Valvoline bottles may vary by store.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred wants to speed up the game. This season, there will be 2 new pace of play rules. First, teams will be limited to 6 mound visits without pitching changes, and there will also be a countdown clock to track the breaks between innings. Mostly positive reviews for the new NBA All-Star Game format. Team LeBron beat Team Steph 148-145. Steph Curry says all the players enjoyed it.
Take ownership of the game and understand that there's a way to do it to up the level of competitiveness and the intensity a little bit, protect each other, obviously, avoid injuries and whatnot, but to put on a great show and have an actual game.
In the new AP College Basketball Top 25, the top 4 stay the same. Virginia at number 1, followed by Michigan State, Villanova, and Xavier. Duke moves up to number 5. Kansas is up to 8th, and the Jayhawks will host Oklahoma tonight, the game at 9 Eastern on ESPN. On ESPN2, a women's hoops top 25 triple header starting at 6 Eastern with Florida State at Duke.
You know, when something's so obvious they call it a no-brainer? Well, here's a big one. Barbasol is finally making razors. Introducing the Barbasol Ultra 6 Plus. It's got 6 ultra-thin blades for a close, comfortable shave. You can go to Barbasol.com right now and save some money. That's a no-brainer, too.
Live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Yes, sir. Let's get to it. A little Who's Hot, Who's Cold, brought to you by our friends at Berto Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for Who's Hot?
It's so damn hot.
Who's Cold?
Looks like she's going to turn cold tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Got a front coming in.
Yeah, you got that right.
Who's Hot, Who's Cold, brought to you by Berto Heating and Air Conditioning. Give them a call today, 850-580-4029. Soon the warm weather will be upon us. Well, it's already warm. The hot, extremely hot weather will be upon us, and you'll want your operating system to be at its best, your air conditioning units, if you will. And you'll want that total comfort service agreement, which is pretty damn cheap, by the way, just barely over $100, and it gets you everything you're going to need. You don't have to worry about anything, man. If you got to call them, same-day service, they got you. No overtime charges, none of that nonsense. Get it from my friends at Berto Heating and Air Conditioning. All right, we'll start with the hot FSU baseball's opening weekend. Went exceptionally well. We thought we'd sprinkle them in here. Florida State opened the year, obviously, with a sweep over Xavier. And head coach Mike Martin is now just 29 games shy of becoming the winningest head coach in college baseball history. Congratulations on the weekend start. 2 Knowles, second baseman Rafael Bornegal, and shortstop Mike Salvatore started all 3 games over the weekend, combined to go 3 for 17 from the plate. Bornegal and Salvatore walked 6 times, though, and scored 6 runs, added 4 RBIs. That's a lot of walking.
That is an awful lot of walking. A lot of walking on Friday, especially, too.
Yeah, dominant from the pen was Florida State. And, hey, by the way, welcome back Kobe Johnson. In his first appearance since undergoing Tommy John surgery, he worked 2 innings, allowed 1 hit, struck out 4. This could be potentially a big deal. As a whole, the staff recorded at least 1 strikeout in 26 of 27 innings over the weekend. That, too, is a good sign. The Noles have now opened the season with a 3-game sweep in 9 of the last 10 years. The only exception was last year. You remember opening day, they lost to VCU. So a good start, and obviously congratulations to Florida State for starting out the way you'd like to see it. Duke basketball also on that, sadly, list of hot teams since losing back-to-back games. And Marvin Bagley III, Duke has rattled off now 3 straight wins, 1 coming on the road against Clemson, which we know is an impressive win. Clemson plays extremely well at home. They've played well all year long.
How impressive is it?
Duke gets that win. In those 3 games, Duke has switched to his own defense against the zone. Clemson made 8 of 33 second-half shot attempts.
It's an adjustment. Try it sometime.
Duke's zone also shut down Clemson's perimeter offense. The Tigers went 5 for 20 from beyond the arc. Everything they do.
It's what we do.
Grayson Allen, by the way, has been good. I hate to say it, but he scored 29 points In the 4 games before Bagley's injury, he averaging 22 points over the last 3 games since the injury. So stepping in, doing what you got to do if you're a good player, and he is a good player despite being a clown. Miami basketball, once number 6 in the nation, the Canes, they lost to Syracuse on Saturday, fell to 18-8, 7-7 of the ACC. They would be in the cold category, kids. Cold. Miami basketball. Nice. The loss to Syracuse marks Miami's first 3-game losing streak this year, losing to Boston College and Virginia. No shame in losing to Virginia, but the BC game, they didn't score over the final 14 minutes, I think it was, and now they lost to Syracuse. On Saturday, the Hurricanes endured a 5-minute scoring drought in the second half. It's becoming a trend, Tom. Scoring their first 2-point field goal at the 7:20 mark. Drought led to a 15-0 Syracuse run. And thanks for playing. Cold, Chicago Blackhawks. What's going on in the NHL? Good to see.
Yes, it is. It's warming the heart, even though it's cold.
Now, they won last night 7-1 over Washington, which, my goodness gracious. But prior to that, they had lost 8 straight games. They were the number 1 seed in the Western Conference last season. You recall that. Now they are dead last in their division, 8th place in the Western Conference. Hockey guy?
Yeah.
What the hell's going on?
Well, actually, we were talking about hot and cold this morning, and I said, all right, let me put a list of stuff together that I'd like to see. Holy crap, Chicago's in last. How does that happen with Kane and Taves?
Well, Corey Crawford lost for this stretch, so he's not played since December 23rd after suffering a head injury.
They were struggling and looking in desperate need for a win when they played Tampa about 3 weeks ago, a month ago, and they put up shots left and right. I mean, Kenny Albert would have just been in his glory. But they were shut out by the Lightning. It was a fortunate win for Tampa, 2-0. And at that time, they were starved for points. Now they're in sellers mode. I mean, that's unbelievable. In hockey, you're always in it.
Yeah,
they're out. Yeah. They're out of it.
It is kind of crazy to imagine a team that beat us, obviously, in the Stanley Cup Finals, and we watched play that out, and we saw how talented they were. And
they're there every year. It was them in L.A. trading, the Western Conference designator status. Yeah, and now they're in dead freaking last in their division.
They, by the way, have struggled. Spent over 22 minutes on the power play than any other team this season, but they're just 19th in power play goals. Poor efficiency. That ain't getting it done. Also, they've scored power plays in 7 of their last 8 games, but they're still 29th in success rate in power plays, despite that recent success. And the New York Rangers fall their 7-4 loss to the Philadelphia Flyers on Sunday, have lost 4 in a row, 11 of 14, 15 of 21. Thanks for playing.
That's right. That's another team now. I remember last week, you asked me about a Rangers-Islanders game and the potential to go over. I said, I'm not sure about that, but I'd take the Islanders because the Rangers are in danger.
You thought they were in tank mode, maybe.
Yes. They were within a few points of being in a playoff spot because the way the East works is if you're in the division the Rangers are in, you're pretty much within reach. But they were at the bottom of that division, and they were not looking good. They were living off of about a good 15-game stretch, and the rest of the season has been, as you like to say, ass sorry.
Ass sorry. Go see our friends at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning. Not ass sorry.
No.
At all. Best in the business and have been good to the Camerons and to ESPN Radio for some time now. Thus, we vouch for the goodness that is Barano Heating and Air Conditioning. That's Who's Hot, Who's Cold. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Blountstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
You don't need to see your W-2. And absolutely the best of all, we will not sell you an overpriced used car. And that is exactly why at Kraft Nissan, we call it the New For You program. We will plug your information into our system, which approves 4 out of 5 people with damage credit. And at the end of the day, you will drive away in a brand new Nissan, with or without a tax refund. You know the deal. Recently divorced? No problem. Recent bankruptcy? No problem. Credit score under 600? No problem. And it's not tied to taxes. Come see how easy it is for you to drive away in a new Kraft Nissan. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag in your car, you paid too much, way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get you back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 833-4-DRDELAY. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. They have daily lunch specials, all under $9. Happy hour drink specials and happy hour on Friday, 2 p.m. to close. Darts are now available on West Pensacola Street. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers, plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill, 3 locations to choose from: 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Soon you'll be able to cue up the summer wind, my friend. Woo!
We're getting there, aren't we?
Yeah, earlier today while I was here on the computer reading, I clicked around baseball sites, and some of them were showing the guys warming up at the various fields and getting ready to kind of scrimmage in squad, if you will, and inter-squad scrimmage. That's just warms the heart.
I'm excited for it. You know, it's really weird this year because baseball is going to start at an unusual time for everyone. March 29th, Thursday, March 29th is opening day this year.
Why did they do that?
The Players Association asked for a little bit more in the way of days off during the season in the flow of it.
Okay.
So they're playing, every team in Major League Baseball is playing on Thursday, March 29th. So get ready for that. The opening day, the first Monday in April, is not a thing this year.
Yeah, but you know how we always get so down when our team is one of the ones that's excluded from that opening day? We're like, or you play and then you have the next day off?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, if you don't play on opening day, then you play Tuesday, Thursday, or if you do, then it's Monday, Wednesday. Yeah. So it's going to be that weekend series. They do have some, the first Monday in April, they do have some afternoon games as teams will be having home openers that were on the road. But March 29th, how about that? That's just weird.
My guess is we will be somewhere celebrating opening day as we're wont to do.
Oh, we've confirmed it already.
Oh, well,
we'll be at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
There it is. It's been confirmed. Woohoo! That's a good day, Tom Lang. That's like one of my favorite days of the entire year.
Yeah, that's going to be Pirates-Tigers at 1:10 p.m. out in Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan.
We've opened with the Tigers out at Comerica Park before, and once again, it's just dumb. You're starting the baseball season at a time where it is still cold in those areas of the country. Why not move that? Why not have the Pirates play somebody in the South? Let's not have all of these teams in the Midwest and the North hosting games.
You want to hear the real crime? And we've said this for the past few years about opening day. You know, not the Thursday part, but, you know, the Reds open up with the Nationals in Cincinnati. It's a 4:10 p.m. first pitch. 4:10 p.m. Cincinnati's playing.
No cause for that.
No. The first game of the season, 12:30 p.m., Cubs at Marlins.
Poor Marlins. Come on down, Cubs. Go ahead. Go ahead. Begin the end.
Oh, that'll be packed,
Without question. Major League Baseball also imposed stricter limits on mound visits by players in an effort to speed up games, but decided against 20-second pitch clocks for 2018. After more than a year of negotiations, the Major League Baseball Players Association refused to agree to the changes, but also signed an agreement that it will not oppose the rules. The amendments to the playing rules announced today include a general limit of 6 mound visits per 9-inning game without a pitching change, whether by a manager, coach, or a player. To assuage players' concerns about sign stealing, MLB will install new telephone lines from dugouts to video replay rooms. The MLB said the lines will be monitored, and a person familiar with the situation told the AP all conversations on the lines will be recorded. The person spoke on condition of anonymity. So I'm surprised they didn't vote on the 18 seconds or the players didn't agree to it. I mean, this was something that I think players have largely been in favor of, both batters and pitchers.
I think just about everybody is, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense, and they can do it. It's been done before. At various eras in baseball's history, we've seen the game sped up in this way, where batters aren't constantly stepping out of the box and pitchers are ready to go and the game moves on. I'm not the guy that beats the drum for speeding things up at all costs, just because I think the game is the game, and if you enjoy baseball, then it doesn't bother you that it's sometimes 3.5 hours long. If you get into the 4 and 5 hour range, especially in a regulation 9-inning game, you do have to wonder if there's not something you can do to help things out there. But by and large, baseball's a game played in that time allotment. That's just the way it is.
Well, and it got ugly for a period of time there. Nomar Garciaparra, of course, was one of the most famous for it, but it's a habit after every pitch. Yeah. That can't be. You've got to break that habit. Now, obviously foul balls and stuff that changes as you're talking about, but it's just you can't have the every pitch reset like the at-bat is just beginning thing happening for either the pitcher or the hitter. Human rain delays, no more too. Come on now.
Yeah, Tony Clark, the union head, said that the sides technically actually didn't really reach a deal. Rob Manfred had announced that they were pleased they were able to reach an understanding with the Players Association, and they want to continue to have dialogue. But Tony Clark basically came out and told the truth, which is that, hey, Rob, we really didn't come up with an agreement here because we didn't end up focusing on the things that we wanted to focus on. In fact, the quote reads, the focus on mound visits and or the level of commitment on the other pieces simply didn't focus enough attention on the areas that the players wanted to address, so no agreement could be reached. While a number of pitchers will acknowledge that some mound visits are unnecessary, a limited combination with that experience has been of late in regard to with what the experience has been of late, I can't read, in regards to technological enhanced sign stealing means that there are concerns about how this will work or not work anyhow. Bottom line is they didn't address the clock, 18 seconds, didn't agree to it. I thought that we were probably pretty close to getting that worked out.
I thought so too, but Tony Clark is willing to go to the mattresses, and he's projected that for some time since he was named the union head. So, I mean, this is something that, again, you can look at each league, and they have their own strengths and weaknesses about the collective bargaining process, but you can tell when the union head is ready to go to battle with the commissioner and the owners. And in this case, it looks like the players. I mean, I get it. They floated the idea out there, and it was roundly rejected about, not showing up to work on time for spring training in the regular season. They're not going down that path. That's not happening here. But you can tell that it was floated out for a purpose. That's because the union and the owners are set to butt heads again pretty soon. As Manfred said, you're going to have to come to grips with the economics and the truth that there's a bubble out there. Well, we need to get out ahead of that because the salaries are outpacing the revenues or projected revenues for the next 10, 20 years.
And I'm sure he would pay handsomely if you would like to sign on as part-time advocate for Rob Manfred and the owners here regarding that bubble that was predicted by you to burst some time ago. Players, you're just going to have to understand.
I think if you listen to radio, watch any kind of news, specifically cable news, fear sells. Fear sells, and I can make you fear the bubble that's coming when it comes to RSN purchase rights and what's going to happen soon.
The old school fear and consumption, baby. That's right. We get you talking over here, scared to death. And, oh, by the way, buy some toothpaste. MLB is eliminating the rules guaranteeing 8 warm-up pitches before a half inning in an effort to keep between inning breaks to 2:05, 2 minutes, 5 seconds for most games, 2:25 for regular season games on national television, 2:55 for tiebreaker and postseason games. There are exceptions relating to injury and if the pitcher or catcher finishes the previous half inning on base or at bat or on deck.
They've been tweaking that for 10, 15, 20 seconds, for the last 4 or 5 years.
Just good to have baseball chatter. As boring as that was, you can forgive me all that I brought that up at all. I'm just starving for some damn baseball. We got it with FSU baseball, and we get it again tomorrow with FSU baseball against USF. But there's a little bit of pro baseball, and if I can find it, I work it in at some point in the show, okay?
We talked about it earlier today when it comes to judges, sports with judges. Let's go get that laser strike zone. Come on now. Let's do it.
You really want the laser strike zone. You want the umps out of there.
It doesn't get rid of a home plate umpire. They're going to be plays at the plate. There's going to be rulings to be made.
The optics of it won't change.
Right. Exactly right. And he can still, he can get the signal as you talked about. There you go. You want that? You got it.
I do want that.
You got it.
I want that.
But you got to set up that prism electronically. Man, what if it could be so successful in the MLB that you find a way to lower the cost and it makes its way into, say, I don't know, Dick Howser Stadium.
Well, and you're not going to make college kids throw into a pro strike zone. They will be out there all damn day.
I agree. But what you can do is now, if you have a standardized electronic strike zone.
Right. You can change it for college?
You can change the width of the plate for college. You can give an extra inch on the plate in total width. And there you go. There's your balance.
Yeah, I guess. I think there are more pressing issues than your standard strike zone as
I don't know, man.
Remedied by electronics.
Tennis has had us. They've had the major sports for
they still have a major
10, 15 years now.
Tennis is way ahead of its time, and accurate as accurate gets, Tom.
That's right.
Every time I see that thing, I go, they nailed it.
We can get that strike zone all set, can't we?
We could. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. To all those that called and or listened, surely do appreciate it. Be well. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.